All right, we're gonna get this started.
Yeah, I'll start us off here. Welcome
Alright.
in, everyone, from Lorespire stream, Pondoor stream,
Hi.
and my stream. I'm UnsungNPC, if you don't know who I am already. We are here at our bi-weekly streamer show, where right now we talk a lot about Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. I'm sure eventually we'll get to other games as well. I'm sure once we've all played actual Rogue Trader, we will be able to talk about that eventually as well. But for right now, Wrath of the Righteous. We've been talking about auto builds and companion rankings, and today we are talking about spells. Arcane spells, nature spells, divine spells, all the spells.
All the non-mythic spells.
All the non-mythic spells. Yes, we aren't going into the mythic path spells at this point in time. So yeah, that's what we're here to do. It's been a while since I've been back from the holiday / COVID, but I am here with my two favorite streamer boys,
Hey.
below and above me. So yeah, Lorespire, take it away.
All right, I'm Chris with Lorespire. I've also been out a while. Family's been sick, and I also had some hardware issues. But all that's over and done with now. Probably be streaming again tonight as soon as this is done. So anybody who wants to
Hey,
check
it's
out
Scyther.
the Rogue
What up,
Trader
buddy?
stream, continuing that, be sure to stick
Hope
around.
work's been treating you well for the holidays.
Be
friend.
going live with that shortly afterwards. But for
If
now, we're just
not,
going to be
fuck it.
hitting these spells, hitting them hard. I think it's going to be pretty interesting, and I think we're going to break it up arcane spells, and then we'll do either divine or nature, and then do the last set after that. So yeah, stick with this. It's going to be a good one.
Hell yeah.
You got anything to add, Pondoor?
Yeah, so I'm Pondoor. I have also not streamed all week, but it's for a completely different reason. It's because somebody slashed my tires, and I've been trying to deal with that. And I've been salty as fuck about that, so I didn't want to stream when I was really, really mad. But yeah, so I'm back as well. I will not be doing anything after this because I need to get Toad into the shop. Which actually I might need to leave early depending on when the tow truck gets here.
If you need
Just
to leave
throwing that
early,
up.
do you want us to not continue without you and just pick it up next time?
No. You guys can finish.
Okay.
That's fine.
Cool.
But yeah, I might need to dip out early depending on when the tow truck gets here. I'm going to be trying to time it so that that doesn't happen. But AAA doesn't allow for future scheduling, so we just kind of have to play it by ear. But yeah, my next stream will be tomorrow, and we'll be doing some Phasmophobias. Oh, I got some good news on Song. Tyler finally got his fucking graphics card potentially, so he might be joining us again tomorrow for the first time in a while.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
This is awesome. Cool. So how do we... Guys, how are we wanting to like do this exactly? Because, I mean, if we go through every single spell, that'll take a while. So I didn't know, like, if we had, like, a method of, like, going over spells that we all typically favor, for, like, arcane classes and then divine classes and whatnot, or how we want to do that.
I mean, I thought that we would go at it kind of like level by level, and we could switch off or however y'all want to do that for starting each level, but we can just kind of like name the spells like these are the ones I like, these are the ones that suck, you know.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, and we don't have to do like every single spell.
Yeah.
You know, and if somebody else has one that they want to add that they think sucks or is good, or they want to talk about it or whatever, they can chime in as well.
Totally. Yeah, if you're in the chats at all and you have opinions on spells that you think are great or ones that you typically use, we love to hear that kind of stuff and figure out what works for everybody. Mm-hmm. So feel free to chime in.
All right.
That's
who
awesome.
wants to kick it
I'm
off?
excited. All right.
Well,
level 1. I'll be honest, level 1 is always like...
One?
There's like 2 or 3 that I always use, and the rest I throw away because we never stay in first level spells for very long in any of these games.
I use a lot of level 1 spells.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that level 1 just has a ton of really useful spells and a few that just totally suck and I would never recommend.
Yep. I'll throw out a couple of good ones. Couple of ones that I really specifically in the Kingmaker speedrun are really useful. Expeditious Retreat is absolutely essential.
Yeah.
Vanish is also very helpful. It helps you break combat, break line of sight with the enemies so that you can sneak past them. I used to use Enlarge Person at certain points to increase my damage output, but I don't do that anymore because it's a full round cast. That's just a little bit too slow. Burning Hands is actually also really good for early AoE damage. Helps versus swarms. In the Kingmaker speedrun, I use it at the final fight in the prologue. It helps burn through. There's a group of archers that are all grouped up together, and I just have Tartuccio run up and burn them all to death. It's pretty nice.
And in Wrath of the Righteous, it is a while before you start fighting demons with fire resistance. So against cultists, Burning Hands is probably one of the best offensive spells, if not the best.
I was thinking more for the swarms. Like I definitely use it for the swarms.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't really heard it much against the cultists and whatnot.
There's a
I
couple
found
of
it highly helpful for the swarms.
It is helpful for the swarms for sure. There's a couple houses that have some of those swarms out there. I would say like if the cultists are like the casty cultists, it's useful because their reflexes are usually pretty shit.
Good to know.
And then there's also one that I don't use very often myself, but I know a lot of people swear by it, is Grease.
Yeah. Grease is so good as a spell, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely one of the best level 1 spells there. I also think Hurricane Bow is really good, and maybe not so much just because of how good it is at the beginning, but you can use it like pretty much the whole game through. So like, you're always getting some good use from that.
6 months, my
Reduce
guy.
Person and Enlarge Person, I feel like
Welcome
are
in,
both
buddy.
really good, especially Reduce
Good to
Person
see you.
because that's like the only way you really have to reduce your size unless you're a trickster.
Right.
You know, and then True Strike is freaking phenomenal, especially like on the really higher difficulties. Of course, you got to get like an alchemist to be able to cast it on other people, but just being able to always get that guaranteed hit. Like I would say, generally it's not great, but you know, like whenever you're playing
Every
like on
once in a
Unfair
while.
or something, it's incredibly helpful there. And then Snowball is extremely good just because it doesn't take
have
magic
spell resistance.
Yeah,
No,
it
it
doesn't
doesn't,
take spell
and
resistance
it's-
into effect, and it's a touch attack. So it's actually really
Yeah.
good, you know, for a pretty long while. And then shield and mage armor, I'd also like to mention there as being really good and spells that you should almost always get.
I feel like
I kind of
shield
forget
and
about the
I feel like
defensive
shield and
options.
mage armor are two spells that I will pretty much use throughout most of the game. I feel like they're just really nifty, and like mage armor lasts forever, and shield is like just a nice little bonus on top of it. And I feel like in this game, because of potion making, I honestly would prefer to do potions for enlarge or reduce person instead of casting the spell, because
Fair enough.
it doesn't take a full round action to drink the potion, and you can do it before combat starts as well.
Fair
and
enough.
just
Well,
go in.
you can cast the spells outside of combat though, and
Yeah.
especially if you get enduring spells, then you're looking at only having to cast it
Yeah,
once
you
instead
can,
of drinking
but
a 1 minute potion before
it's
every
just,
combat.
I think the potions
Yeah,
are
the
just a
full
good way to
round
allocate
thing is mainly
the
just a
resources.
A
speedrun
speedrun thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would also say
guys,
color sprays
Um,
is pretty good because demons' wisdoms are typically not that great early on, at least. So I pretty much nail.
Yeah.
I pretty much nail like all the shears. All the shears get color sprayed and they go down, and it's super easy.
also, guys, you can actually, if you expand Nenio's spellbook, there's a thing, show all spells. That way we could just have all of them in the actual spellbook, even the ones that she hasn't learned.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
So that should
Now-
help us out quite a bit.
That's
now
an
that you
option as
said
well.
that, I remember it, but I don't think I've ever actually done that though. So
I
Yeah.
did not even know
Ended
that
up
was a
being
thing.
Yeah, Matthias,
So-
Grenadier's
Yeah.
one of my favorite alchemist subclasses.
So
for
yeah,
sure.
that does make things a
and
little
yeah, Snowball is like magic
little
missile
easier
until
there.
it gets
I would
outclassed.
just
Little
like to
cleaner,
say
yeah.
that spells like sleep here I think is freaking terrible and
Yeah, sleep
should
sucks.
probably like never be used.
Sleep sucks.
Yeah. Like sleep is freaking horrible. I think not Ray of Enfeeblement, but Ray of Sickening also sucks pretty damn bad.
Yeah.
And Summon Monster 1 is pretty freaking terrible.
Yep. Sleep is just
you
like
know.
Summon monster, unless you like the summoning spells are just.
unless you
I don't
have
know. I
a
think
summoning class that gets bonuses to it, it's not worth it in my opinion.
Well, I just feel like
Yeah.
Summon Monster 1 is by far the worst of the summoning spells, though, because you can't use
yeah.
it to summon multiple monsters. You're just summoning one really weak monster, and it's only lasting for a turn whenever you first
one
have
hit.
it, and then 2 turns, and then like it's not lasting very long at any time where it might be even semi-useful.
It's a spell. It's
because
a whole spell slot to summon a one-turn decoy.
Yeah, exactly.
Zins,
And
it's basically our own opinions, is what we're doing here.
And sleep, sleep is like I got excited about it in Kingmaker, but honestly, like I used it on 2 of the like guards in Kingmaker in the beginning, and it only makes one of them go to sleep.
Yeah,
I'm just like,
anything
what the
that's limited by the HD, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like that.
It's not
And
good.
especially sleep, because for HD, I mean, you're getting like 1 or 2 at the very beginning of the game, and then by like the middle of the first act, you're getting 1 at most.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, it's freaking terrible.
Yeah, the hit die
And-
limitation on sleep is really bad.
And the beginning
And-
fights in this game, like when you're fighting the bugs in the caves, I'm sorry, you don't need to sleep the bugs. Just kill the bugs. You don't need to use any spells on the bugs. They're bugs.
Yeah.
Just murder them.
And hypnotism, for a similar reason, I also
Yeah.
think is terrible.
Yep.
But yeah, those are like the spells that I would probably like
level
never
level
use.
Lord
one enchantment
Bowman!
spells in general are
Meep to
just
you,
not going to be
meeps to
good.
you, guys. Meeps
Yeah,
to you.
yeah.
Glad you guys are all
All right,
here.
so we ready for
Welcome
level
in,
2?
Welcome in.
Yep.
Okay.
There are 3 here that I would like to immediately point out. Well, 4 actually. My 4 favorites are Create Pit, Invisibility, Scorching Ray, and Sense Vitals. Those are the ones that I use in the speedrun. They all have very, very good purposes. Create Pit lets us skip an entire chapter end dungeon. It's very nice. Hey, Lord Bovin, how you doing?
Yeah, all really solid choices for some of the best spells, I'd say.
I'd
Oh,
say
am I muted?
one of the best things about level
Am I muted
2
now?
is the illusion spells that come into play. Mirror image, blur, invisibility is even nice if you know how to use it right. I enjoy the 3 of those. Even when I'm not using Nenio, like, they're just really, really nice to have.
Yeah, they're incredibly good. Especially mirror image, like I like using scrolls of that, like on any and all of my tanks, or anybody who might be
mirror
taking
image
a
is also
hit.
really, really good.
Yeah, it's just good as hell. And then also all of the enhancement spells here, like the Bear's Endurance, Full Strength, like all of those, like you're going to be using those for probably until you get the AoEs of them, at least until you get +4 belts for everybody.
Yeah, whether
but
in spell form or in potion form, you're gonna be doing it a lot.
Yeah. So those are incredibly good, and I would say must-haves for any party. However you're getting them or using them, like you need to have them.
I will say,
Yep.
I've been able to figure out nice ways to incorporate glitter dust a lot more often.
I was going to mention glitter dust.
By glitter dust. Glitter dust is so good.
I
Glitter
had
dust
trouble
is
with it
really
in
good.
Kingmaker. I didn't feel like there was a ton of situations where it needed to be used outside of like that one cave with like the were rats or whatever. But in Wrath of the Righteous, I use it fairly often.
Yep. Yeah, glitter dust is super good.
Yeah.
Doesn't it also have a blind chance?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That's what I actually think it's really good for. You can the blind chance, and you can just put selective meta magic on it, and I mean, if you also have forgetting the meta magic that increases the level of the spell. But if you have those 2 meta magics on it, like it can stay helpful throughout.
Is it
the entire
heighten?
game.
Is it heighten that does
Yeah,
that?
heighten spell.
Yeah.
Look at that!
So,
I know things.
Glitter dust, really good.
I will say I hate, honestly, here's my thing. Spells like Hideous Laughter, I don't like mind affecting spells that are single target. I think they bother me. I would prefer like Confusion or like AoE mind affecting spells. I don't love single target mind affecting spells.
Yeah. I really agree with that. I will say with Hideous Laughter though, you can do the combo with best jokes and you can like really get some crazy stuff going on there. So I would accept it as one of the best level 2 spells if you're planning on using it for that. But just like in general, outside of that use though, I would say it's pretty meh at best.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, protection from alignment communal's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
We can just throw that out there too, especially for the protection from dominate and charm effects, which even I sometimes would forget about, like that it even does that. But that can be really, really helpful at certain points in certain fights.
I didn't actually know it did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the succubus in Act 1. Anyways, yeah.
I would also say
that's pretty damn good.
I would also say animal aspect is, there's probably like a couple of situations you could use it, but I usually wait till greater animal aspect to use.
I think animal aspect just kind of falls in the middle. Like it's like it's not.
I mean,
best
like
or worst.
if you really need a +4 to athletics, great. If you really need a +4 to athletics, great.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like, you know.
Yeah. And I think the worst spells here probably like Scare. Again, it's got the hit die.
And Pondoor hates fear spells because he doesn't like his enemies running away from him.
Yes, I want to just kill them. Stop running away from me, damn it. Let me stab you.
Totally get that. I think that it's probably definitely the worst spell here. That Command Undead's pretty bad, but I would never use Scare. I guess pretty much everything else here has at least some situational use.
And then you've got Pernicious Poison, which is like, it's a touch spell.
It just
is that here on level 2 too? Yeah, Pernicious Poison freaking sucks. Let's put it there with Scare. And I actually noticed that I think most of the worst spells or spells that I would put in the worst column are probably going to be necromancy spells. Necromancy gets freaking shafted in this game, which sucks.
I've tried to make a character that like goes all out on like poison spells and stuff, and it's impossible.
I tried to make Ember that. I tried to do that with Ember my first playthrough. It just doesn't work.
Demons don't give a fuck about poison.
Yeah, they don't. I might actually put Bone Shaker in one of the better spell columns though, just because it's guaranteed damage.
Yeah,
like whenever you're playing on like hard or unfair, like guaranteed damage is.
Oh yeah, Bone Shaker
nice
and Bone
to have.
Shatter.
Yeah,
I use them a lot. Yeah.
All right.
Used to.
Really good for the guaranteed damage.
I'm honestly surprised that for the most part, the three of us are like in agreement on like all of these spell things.
Yeah, we've not been in very much agreement in previous.
There is a very large disparity between the good spells and the bad spells.
There is. Yeah,
for sure.
Like the good spells are very good. The bad spells are really shit.
All right, so moving on to level 3 spells now. We're good for that?
Yep.
All right, so yeah, I'd say like the best ones here, definitely like displacement, haste, heroism,
agreed with that.
Greater magic weapon.
It's some of the best and some of the worst.
I would say that those.
Jake, Battering Blast.
I guess you could say
really
Stinking
good.
Cloud.
I would say Stinking Cloud can be situational.
And it's
situational.
Yeah, I think it's pretty bad in Wrath of the Righteous, but I mean, I guess whenever you're not facing demons, it could still be pretty helpful. I've not really used it at all in Wrath of the Righteous. I used it a ton in Kingmaker, though.
Which spell?
Stinking Cloud.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I feel like in this game with the demons, it's a little bit tricky, but if you do run into just cultists, I feel like it'll work out.
Yeah, it could definitely work there. It's just those fights are usually easy already.
Yeah, because they're cultists.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like those are kind of the best ones that are. Oh, resist energy communal, freaking imperative.
Yes.
And dispel magic is pretty damn good too.
I've done really good dispel magic builds.
Yeah. Well, I mostly use greater dispel magic, but I find dispel magic can be pretty useful for like ground-based effects.
Yeah.
Like,
I was about to say greater
not
spell
as
you
much
can't
for
do
single
ground-based.
target. Yeah.
I've actually used See Invisibility Communal a lot. There's a lot of invisible
Really?
demons running around.
I guess that's fair.
Like, I feel like especially in Dresden, it was useful to me. I used it a lot.
I used to use Rage in the speedrun.
Oh yeah.
For the final boss fight, I used to use Rage.
I don't know if anyone knows this. Jake is asking if Battering Blast works with Zippy Magic.
I'm
believe
not
so.
sure.
It's a
I'm not sure.
It
I've not
should.
tried it. I mean,
because I don't think Zippy Magic says raise. I think it says range touch attacks.
Well, there you go. But yeah, like
It's not technically a ray.
like
right?
you guys mentioned, haste,
Yeah, spell descriptor is just
displacement. I also like heroism's a great spell.
Oh, I guess this also is an array.
I like hold person. I mean, it's single target as well, but I find good ways just to like find the caster in the back, hold person, and make sure they can't cash it on me for a good chunk of the combat.
Yeah. I tend not to play on difficulties high enough where CC is super necessary.
True, I guess I get that.
outside of boss fights.
Protection from
Where
arrows.
I just CC the boss.
Protection from arrows communals kind of great, but I feel like a lot of they get to magic ranged weapons pretty quickly in this game, so it becomes useless a lot earlier on than it does in Kingmaker.
Although, wait, do they though?
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean,
there's a lot of end game enemies that are still using masterwork weaponry.
because
Yeah,
I know that like I'll use it and I still get pelted and blasted. But
I
in, like,
feel like
Do they cheat? Do they cheat where when they're using it, it's magic, but as soon as they drop it, it's not?
because in Kingmaker you can use this like this is like essential for the Goblin Fort, the Goblin Compound or whatever. Like the goblins will just shoot arrows and arrows and arrows and arrows, and you just prop on protection from arrows, and you don't have to. You'll never get hit by anything.
No, just dimension door up the cliff and then.
Oh
just
my
go
god!
and
Get your
snipe the
speedrun
shaman.
bullshit out of
Yeah.
here.
Just snipe
cheat,
the
Unsung.
shaman
That's all
with
you got to do is
sense
cheat.
vital
Yeah,
scorching ray.
yeah.
It's not cheating. It's not cheating. It's literally just
Yeah.
using a spell.
Matthias says you can find cultists with magic bows as early as the Great Garrison. In higher difficulties.
Right. But like the point that I'm making though is like there's a lot of end game enemies that will drop masterwork weapon. Which if they're not using some fucking bullshit ability that they have,
They could be using
lets them
magic
cheat.
weapon.
but
Yeah,
they're like
I don't
they're
think
like
the enemies
not
actually
magic
drop the
using
weapons that they're using. I don't think.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like the game is a little bit cheaty in that aspect.
Probably.
And,
Yeah, for sure.
I think I remember inspecting an enemy and it literally says when this person is using a weapon, it's magic. But as soon as they drop it, it's just a masterwork or just a normal weapon, and it's like, oh well, fuck you then.
Really? Wow. That's kind of a slap in the face.
I think that's actually a Kingmaker enemy. The more that I think about it, I think it's one of the Wild Hunt enemies. Because their bows were always just normal or masterwork. They were not magic at all.
The other thing I'll say is I don't love the pit spells. Honestly, I wish they couldn't climb out of the pits if they fell down. I wish they had to stay in the pit the whole time.
I don't like the pit spells too much either. It sounds like they're pretty useful for speed running, from what Pondoor had to say. But I never use the pit spells. Yeah,
Let you skip Mordecai's too.
They don't stay in the pits long enough for it to be like effective for me.
Yeah, and I find also that the edges of the pits don't seem to be well defined. Like it can seem like you're far enough away from the pit that you should not be affected by it, and then you'll just fall in there for what the frick ever reason, even though you seem to be several yards away.
Yep.
So that's another reason why I don't like to use them there. I suppose you can always throw selective meta magic on them, though. I guess.
True, but
yeah.
But yeah, I don't much like the pit spells, and I think that like blink and is pretty freaking terrible.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, blink sucks.
I think it's
if we haven't yet, I think we need to talk about fireball versus lightning bolt.
Oh my gosh.
fireball's
fireball.
better.
You said fireball's better. I agree.
I would say
Fireball's
fireball's great on Ember, but unless your main character is also focusing on fire damage, it's not worth taking the mythic ability to like bypass fire resistance unless you're like specializing in fire. So a fireball on a generic casting character is wasteful because you're not going to pass anyone's fire resistance enough to do anything.
Now, what about this? What if you take one level in the elemental specialist wizard and then you transfer all of your elemental damage into fire?
Well, then you're good. Then you specialize in fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then that's fine.
I think
And then you can have a fire lightning bolt.
Then that goes.
Hey, I would also like to point out another reason why Fireball's really good. You can actually cast it through walls. So you can cast it like, even though there's a wall between you and like another area, you can actually cast it through the wall. The game will let you to pull enemies, which is how I would usually pull Playful Darkness.
Is it like acting like you're lobbing the fireball over it?
You just shoot it like normal.
So you cheat.
I don't know if
I
that's...
actually didn't know that.
So you're a cheater.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, join me. Join me on the cheaty side.
Oh my god.
But that's also another use for Fireball. But just generally speaking, I think Fire's better. However, if you're going to take the Ascendant element, then I actually kind of prefer Lightning if you're doing that. Just because I think Lightning's cooler.
I do too. I do as well. And the natural lightning spells don't go through spell resistance. Any spell that's
What do you mean?
There's like spells that are like natural
lightning?
light
You mean
spells.
like lightning storm?
Yeah, like lightning storm and stuff like that doesn't have spell resistance.
I don't like Lightning Storm, but okay.
I was about to say, yeah, the fact that isn't it a standard action every round to use it again?
Yeah, that's why I don't like it.
Just saying. It's
It
nice.
is a point to be made. It is a point to be made. Also, we can't learn that spell. I don't think.
Yeah, I think
Unless
that's
it's like a
Druid.
level 4.
Oh, yeah, Matthias makes a good point. Typically, in the way that the tabletop works, Fireball's not a projectile. It's a explosion that happens at a certain coordinate.
Well, then there you go.
Don't you throw out like a little tiny little ball?
No, it's
And
not
then
a
it gets there and
projectile.
then
It's
it
not a.
explodes?
I don't think it's a. Matthias is saying it's not a projectile. I'm gonna double check that, but I think he's right.
All right.
I thought it was
If-
definitely like a little like pea-sized thing that you shoot out and then it explodes when it gets to its target.
Doo-doo-doo.
I don't know. I've not. Makes sense to me, I guess, that it would just kind of be. No, that should be Conjuration then.
No, it generates an explosion. You point your finger and determine where it's gonna happen, and then it bursts.
Huh, okay. Maybe it's another rule book that has that.
Maybe.
I could have sworn that that's how it was.
Well, then I'll be taking my apology now. Then Unsung.
I'm sorry, you're not a cheater. You're a good player, Lore. I apologize.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate.
I
that.
own my cheatiness. I own it. It is mine.
All right, how do I
Nobody
kick
can take
Pondoor
it
out
from
of the
me.
call? All right.
Are we done with
Level
level
4?
3?
Yeah, level 4. Some of my favorite spells. I love Confusion. I love Rainbow Pattern.
Dimension Door's the best spell. Dimension Door's the best
Dimension
spell.
Door is good. Yes.
I agree. Dimension Door is the best spell. I've said that 300 times during my streams, and I'll probably say it 300 more. Friggin' love
That
Dimension
If
Door.
you have-
saves me like 6 hours.
If you're like me and you do an all dex-based party, I love Reduced Person Mass a lot. Just a bunch of tiny
Fair
dudes
enough.
running around.
If you run an all strength-based party, which you should never do, enlarged person mass is there as well.
True. I like Anime Dead. I feel like
Animate Dead
better-
is one of the only summoning
Yeah.
spells that I think means anything.
It's a good
I
summoning
love this spell. It's the only one that's standard action.
You've
Every
got
other summoning spell is full round.
protection from energy communal, which I don't think is as good as like resist energy communal, but pairing them together is really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I would say it's
I would say
borderline
protection from
essential.
energy is kind of shit if you don't also have resist.
True. Oh, Matthias says D&D 5e is fireball is shooting a fireball, and then Pathfinder it's different. Thank you, Matthias.
I was gonna say I know I didn't just pull that out of my ass. I know I heard or read that somewhere.
There's Stone Skin, but I think Stone Skin's actually okay before it gets to communal because you're pretty much only gonna put it on like your tank anyway.
Your tank, yeah, your frontliner.
But I do prefer Stone Skin communal. It's just so good.
Yep, it's pretty nice.
Uh,
Pretty nice.
There's a lot of good spells at 4th level. I feel like.
Remove curse is good.
I like Animal Aspect
Helps
Greater.
get rid
I
of,
like Greater Invisibility.
Phantasmal Killer is really good in the speedrun and Kingmaker.
Yeah, Phantasmal Killer.
We actually use that to kill Armog. Armog actually has a really decent chance to die to Phantasmal Killer, which is hilarious to me.
I feel like Animal Aspect Greater is good just for like the Raccoon enhancement. Upgrading Trickery and Stealth by 4 is pretty nice if you don't already
that's
have
not bad.
items that give a competence bonus.
Yeah. Wait.
Oh,
to be
did we
fair,
lose Pondoor?
at-
Oh, there he is.
Bone Shatter is also good. Yeah,
Great.
Bone Shatter is
Controlled
great.
Fireball is really good.
I love Ice Storm. It's one of my favorite ice spells. I like the ice.
Greater Invisibility cannot be understated. I love that spell.
The level 4 is a good time.
Yeah, level 4 has a lot of really good spells.
Yeah.
Also, I've DC'd from OBS. Am I still in the call?
Yeah, you are. You kind of cut out for a while, but you're
Okay.
here now.
Does anyone know what the fuck Symbol of Revelation does?
It
I've
reveals
read
a
it
symbol.
before.
I disconnected again, and I reconnected again. Fuck this game. And by game, I mean streaming. Should be good, hopefully. Should be back for more than half a second. Are we stable? I mean, mentally, no, but
Looks like it
physically-
just puts Fairy Fire on whoever activates it, and they have to have one of these effects or subtypes to activate it.
Oh,
I
it's
don't
a
know.
trap. Gross.
Yeah,
Traps
Seems-
are gross. Traps are gross.
seems pretty well. Not all of them, but yeah, seems pretty damn garbage. Symbol of Revelation, Touch of Slime, pretty much I think is mostly
Touch of
garbage.
Slime's garbage.
Um,
I don't like Overwhelming Grief because it's single target.
Yeah, Overwhelming Grief's pretty bad. I feel like most of your AoEs here, like Obsidian Flow and Volcanic Storm, and like though you said you do like Ice Storm. I'm not sure why. But I feel like all of those are pretty garbage, pretty
I
bad.
mean, Ice Storm does like it does the damage and it does stuff on perception checks and treats it like difficult terrain. So like it's good to use before the enemies get to you, and then when they're walking towards you, they're walking a lot slower, and you have a lot more time to dish out some more stuff before they reach you.
I guess that makes sense. I just figured with a 40-foot burst, like you'd be. But yeah, I guess if you're starting off combat with it, then
Yeah.
okay.
I use it to start off combat. I would never use it like in the middle of combat. It would be too tricky.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, this seems like very rough to use in the middle of a fight.
Yeah. And Volcanic
Okay,
Storm
alright.
is similar.
It's just a fire version.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah, it's literally the exact same.
Yeah.
It's just fire.
But
instead of
I
ice.
made like an Ice Caster in a Kingmaker playthrough, and I used like Ice Storm, and then I would use all of my Ice AoE spells before they reached me, and everyone would die. And it was a good time.
And I also want to point out Contagion as being pretty freaking terrible. I don't think
Yep,
anybody should
awful.
ever probably use that.
Boo.
And Remove Curse, I think, is also terrible. Maybe it's not that bad, but
It has a purpose, and that purpose is to get rid of Baleful Polymorph. That's about it.
Okay.
yeah. But the only time Baleful Polymorph is ever cast on you. The DC to remove it is so freaking high that you can't remove it, which I know from experience. So it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
I don't know. That's what pisses me off. Like there should, I don't know. There should be some way to increase or subvert this D20 check, or maybe a more advanced version of it where you don't have to make the check. Anyways,
Matthias agrees with us that
pretty bad.
Trap spells are the worst. We don't like traps.
Trap spells are really rough because let me just like talk a little bit about that. Just saying that something is bad isn't really that useful, but saying why it's bad is. It's really hard to try and predict how the enemies are going to move because pathfinding in this game is kind of jank. Like even if there's a clear line from you to the enemy and the enemy should just run straight at you, sometimes they'll just go in random directions.
Yep.
So trying to predict exactly where the enemies are going to stand or where they're going to go is really, really rough. Unless you could place the trap literally on them, where they are before they start moving, then it's a little bit more useful. But I think that these are... No, it is within long range, so it is a ranged spell.
I'm sorry, which one are we talking about?
Just going back and talking a little bit more about traps.
Oh, okay. The reason why I said they're all garbage is because Cave Fangs is just stupidly broken. So yeah, and it's technically a trap spell. So aside from that one, I'd say they're pretty much all garbage. Here, looking at level 4 spells, though, I don't think anybody mentioned Innervation, and I've actually had some battles, especially in the roguelike DLC that we were most recently playing, where Innervation really saved our asses and prevented a wipe against some of those bosses in the early goings. So I don't know. I think killed pretty damn good.
I killed the Lenorm in the cave early game in Kingmaker with Innervation.
There you go.
Innervation's pretty damn good. I'd put it as one of the better spells here at level 4.
There's also an Innervation trap in the Kingmaker speedrun that just has a 25% chance of killing you and ending the run.
Nice.
And there's nothing you can do about it except just roll that 75.
All right. You can't cast the summon to activate the trap, and then the summon just activates it, so you don't have to possibly die.
I think so, but even if you do, that's still time lost.
Yeah.
And the route is the timing at this point is pretty tight, so that you don't really have that kind of time to use.
Yeah.
You just have to hope. You just have to run through and pray.
All right, so I guess we're on to level 5.
Now, I will say, in level 5, I like the necromancy spells available. Waves and Fatigue and Racking Ray are 2 of my favorite necromancy spells in the game.
Vampiric Shadow Shield is a good one to put on your tanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kind of mid-level necromancy spells do get pretty decent, pretty usable, like Innervation, Waves of Fatigue, Racking Ray, but the early ones are total garbage. And then I feel like the late ones are not very good either, at least not for the spell levels they require.
Like Racking Ray, even if a Fortitude save halves the damage, if you roll a 2, even one Dex and Strength damage per 3 caster levels is big. That's a lot of stats being depleted if you just keep using it.
Yeah.
So, and Waves of Fatigue is great. As long as you pass through spell resistance, it's boom, you're fatigued.
I would like to amend a statement that I made earlier when I was talking about Remove Curse. I was actually thinking of Break Enchantment here.
Oh yeah, Break Enchantment.
I also
Break
hate
Enchantment is just a much better Remove Curse because you get that extra plus 15.
Yeah, but the problem with that is it also removes your own buffs, which is what I don't like about it.
That's true.
Also, using Break Enchantment, I was not able to remove Baleful Polymorph with it either. As you can tell, I'm a little bit bitter about that damn Baleful Polymorph, but yeah, it also didn't work for that.
We've got Stone Skin Communal, which is one of my favorite buffs in the whole game.
Stone Skin Communal is great, for sure. I don't know. I feel like the very best spells here, though, are Animal Growth, Dismissal.
Animal Growth is good.
Yeah,
Baleful Polymorph.
It's freaking
Baleful
fire
Polymorph.
for sure.
Baleful Polymorph.
No, Baleful Polymorph's only good for the enemies. Damn it.
That's what do you mean it's only good? That's what you use it on, is on the enemies.
Yeah. I mean, when they use it against you, there's some spells that I don't know. That's how I feel about
I am
it.
talking from a very specific mindset. We use this to turn the final boss of Kingmaker into a puppy dog, and then we bludgeon it to death with a great axe and a bunch of zombies.
Belful Polymorph is freaking awesome on the final boss of Kingmaker. Then I don't think it has much use outside of that, or at least not much good use. You can use it on other enemies and stuff, but I mean,
I like Feeble Minds.
I mean, it literally is just a death, but slightly delayed.
I like Feeble
Just they are
Minds
useless
just
for the rest
using
of
it
the
on a backline caster and just making the caster useless. I always do that.
Yeah.
It is a will save, though, and most casters are going to have decent will saves.
But they take a -4 penalty if they are a caster. That with Arcane Spells.
Of Arcane specific.
Yeah.
Which I guess most casters...
Which is what I'm more worried about. Like, I don't really care about enemy clerics, to be honest.
Fair enough.
Okay, so I guess those are... I mean, Mind Fog is also really good.
Yeah.
I hardly ever use it because I don't really ever play with enchanters, but I've seen other people use it to great effect. So Mind Fog's pretty damn good, and Phantasmal Web can be pretty damn good too with an illusionist.
Icy Prison. Really good single target CC. Even if they fail to save, they're still slowed, and they take the consistent damage. There's also Cloud Kill and Cone of Cold.
Yep. Cone of Cold's great. Constricting Coils, is literally hold a monster with damage.
Yeah. We're getting to the point where there's a lot of good spells.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's also some terrible ones here too, though. Maybe we should mention those, like Shadow Evocation.
I don't like any of the shadow spells.
Not terrible?
The shadow spells.
The shadow spells are garbage.
Yeah, I agree. Like I thought they should be good, like with an illusionist, and then you pick up the mythic ability that increases their effectiveness by 20%, even if they're resisted. And it's like with all this utility or versatility that they have, like it's got to be good, right? No, it's not.
It's not. They're bad.
Yeah,
they're always bad.
Yeah, they're not good. Also, Life Bubble. Anybody have any reason to use Life Bubble that you can think of?
Delay Poison Communal, you're done. That's
exactly. So I mean, Life Bubble, pretty freaking terrible. I don't know. I don't like very much like a hold monster, dominate person, or like these single target spells that are just knocking out one enemy. So yeah, I feel like those are all pretty trash.
Agreed.
Yeah, Cecilia says that the shadow spells can be decent on a DC illusionist. I guess
that's where I tried them, and I thought that they would be, but I mean, you're still with the DC. I mean, at the very best, you're getting the same amount of damage that you would normally get if you just pick the evocation spell. Like, just pick the an evocation spell of the same level. Actually, I think it has to be one level lower, right? So for this,
because
like,
this one is Fireball, Lightning
spell,
Bolt,
right?
Shout, Volcanic Storm, or Ice Storm. So it's level 3 and level 4 spells.
Yeah, so you could just use like a level 5 evocation spell, and as long as you have Ascendant Element for it. I mean, I guess if you don't have Ascendant Element, then that does allow you to pick an element that they're not. I just feel like, yeah.
He is agreeing that Shadow Evocation is bad. She is agreeing on that one. So this shadow spell, we'll look at the other ones as we go up. But yeah, this one right here is trayish.
I actually think Fire Snake's really good. Just real quick, just because it's in a line.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Did they change this? I swear it used to not affect your own characters, and now it shows that it does.
No, it did. It always did.
Really? Well,
yeah, because I avoided taking it
something
because
else.
Of that reason.
Then there's definitely some line spell that does not. I thought it was Fire Snake. Maybe I don't know. I'll have to look and see.
No,
okay, never mind.
It's always affected.
False alarm about Fire Snake.
Genie Kind is pretty broken because you can cast it multiple times and it stacks on itself.
Yeah, I've heard that. Didn't they take away its ability to proc? I don't remember what that mythic ability is, but the one that does.
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah,
they did take that away.
I never really used it anyways, but did seem seriously broken with that.
Fire Snake does not ignore allies, Cecilia. It's all creatures along a 50-foot line, unless this is bugged
I
and the
swear
description is incorrect.
No, I swear it used to not affect allies, and maybe they like fixed the bug. Maybe that was the bug, because I would always use it for that reason.
Maybe.
Which is why I thought that. But anyways, it's neither here nor there.
Yeah. I feel like echolocation is pretty trash.
Yep. Yes.
just get see invisibility. There you go. It's a level 2 or 3 spell. Does the same thing.
Ugh.
All right.
Anything else to say about the level 5s? I think I'm pretty much tapped out on it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Level 6 is one of my favorite levels.
It does have a ton of really good spells in it.
I'm gonna start off.
Heroism Greater so good.
I want to start off by saying that I always make Darren take Serenity, and I spam that like constantly until it affects all the enemies, because it's just extra damage when they try to hurt you. It's just so easy. It's just a little extra damage if it works. So Serenity is one of my favorites.
I did not actually know.
Doesn't that take a lot of spell slots to do that?
No,
yeah, I mean, I would have called it one of the more terrible spells here.
Why?
Just, I mean, how many spell slots are you using to do that?
I only use it like once or twice, and then it eventually affects everyone. His DC is ridiculous because he has like everything in charisma, so he pretty much makes it to where people like fail their will saves, and most enemies don't have good will anyway.
Okay, all right. Well, maybe I'll have to try that sometime.
Transformation is good if you build for it. Dispel
Transformation is what we use again. That's another Kingmaker speedrun staple.
Heroism Greater is great.
Yep.
Phantasmal Putrefaction is a good one. Enemy only AoE.
Hellfire Ray is pretty great.
True. I like Sirocco because even if they fail the save and take half damage, they still get fatigued. Because they get fatigued to take any damage at all. So that's
Sirocco's pretty terrifying.
We've got all the mass buffs.
Yeah, I was gonna say
lightning's really good.
I think the mass buffs, along with Hellfire Ray and Dispel Magic, are definitely and Heroism Greater. Like those. Yeah. Those are like the very tip top of this tier, and I guess Stone to Flesh too, just because that can end your run if you don't have it in certain areas.
Are there petrifying things in this game? I don't remember there ever being a petrification thing in this game.
There is in Act 4 because I remember I don't remember what enemy it was specifically, but I remember us searching around and needing scrolls of Stone to Flesh, and we couldn't find a vendor that had them, so we couldn't unstone the character. I know for sure there are in Act 4.
Chains of Light is a reflex save, which isn't too bad, and it isn't affected by spell resistance. So
that's actually pretty nice that it's not affected by spell resistance.
I enjoy Chains of Light a lot.
All right, anything here that we think is just truly terrible, like Eye Bite maybe, or
I don't really care for Cloak of Dreams.
Yeah, Cloak of Dreams.
Or Eye Bite, like you said.
Yeah, Cloak of Dreams is pretty bad because it's all living creatures within 5 feet of you. If you're casting this on a caster, which personal target, most likely the people near you are going to be your allies.
Yeah, mythic demons in Act 4 can cast Flesh to Stone. Some of them.
Huh. I've never gotten hit by it. Maybe it's one of the like extra abilities that they get if you go on higher difficulty.
Don't really care for Tarpool. It affects everybody.
Tarpool and Acid Fog are relics of an older route in the speedrun. We used to use those to kill Nyrissa. Because they are guaranteed damage regardless of saves. And at the time we were trying to figure out how to get past her 50 plus AC. So we were going for
I see.
guaranteed damage sources, but yeah, in Wrath they're not great.
I don't care for Circle of Death because it's like 10 diamond dust, but also has like a hit die thing, and is a fortitude save, and is affected by spell resistance. So there's a lot blocking it from being effective.
Yeah.
Okay. Real quick here, Kristen pointed it out to me, and it's probably what they meant earlier. Whenever you read the actual description of Fire Snake, even though the targeting shows that it hits allies, the description says that it only affects enemies, and that's So I just wanted to throw that out there for anybody who's watching, that just to make sure that everybody understands the spell correctly. It does only hit enemies.
Does specifically says avoiding allies, even though it says all creatures along if it's
good catch.
So the targeting is just wrong.
Yeah, so it's actually really good because I remember using that against swarms like hella crazy, and not just because I didn't have to worry about hitting allies and it did more damage than like fireball and stuff.
Weird.
Anyways, just wanted to throw that out there, or make sure that we all understand that correctly.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, we mentioned transformation. True Seeing can also be really useful.
Yeah.
I used that a couple of times again in the speedrunner. And yeah.
By this point, undeath to death is like there's not a lot of undead when you're at 6th level spells.
Yeah.
So
it's also expensive for 10 diamond dust.
Yep.
So yeah. A lot of really good ones, some shitty ones, and a lot of mids.
All right. One other thing here to a Tensup and Kristen are also letting me know that there are some enemies in the game that use Mind Fog, and Life Bubble is extremely helpful against them. So maybe it's not as worthless as we said. I'd never used it against them. I do know there are some areas like in the Midnight Fane where they're a bit of a pain when they Mind Fog you, but apparently Life Bubble will save you from that. So if you're having any troubles with enemy Mind Fogs people, then Life Bubble could be your answer there. So thanks for cluing us in on that, guys.
It's not considered a poison.
That's a good tip.
I thought Mind Fog was considered a poison effect.
That is a good tip.
And that's why we need you guys chiming in.
Yeah, we do not know everything. We are just going off of our experiences. Disclaimer, we are not all-knowing.
All right.
All right, level 7?
Level 7.
Level 7.
I love me some Waves of Exhaustion.
Second best buff in the game.
True Seeing Communal's great. Legendary Proportions. Love it.
Probably my favorite buff, but second to a buff that we will see later on.
Yeah, I think Legendary Proportions, True Seeing, Communal, Banishment. Here at this level, I think that those 3 spells are really like the tip top,
great.
like definitely the 3 best of this group. There are some other ones that are pretty damn good too, but I think those stand head and shoulders above the rest of the spells here.
Walk through space. I've had a good time using that as well. It's very circumstantial, but like teleporting doesn't provoke attacks of opportunity, so it's nice to just get out of the way if you need to.
Yeah, I've thought
about
about
taking
taking it.
This spell existed. I'm gonna be honest.
I've thought about taking it a lot of time, but I never actually have, just because I've always had so many other like spells at this level that I just felt like were necessary or that I wanted to take or whatever. But I've always felt like it would be like a really fun spell to use at least.
Yeah. Insanity would be great if it wasn't fucking single target.
Yeah.
Waves of Exhaustion. I don't know if we've mentioned this.
I love Waves of Exhaustion.
Yeah. I think that was the first.
I was about to say you mentioned Waves of Fatigue earlier, and this one's just better.
Anything that's just like all you have to do is get through spell resistance and it works. I'm here for it.
For sure.
Ice Body is pretty good.
Ice Body is pretty good.
It's not bad. Yeah, it's
Immune
not
to
bad at all.
ability score damage is nice.
You do
Yeah,
get
and-
vulnerability to fire, which is a lot of stuff.
Oh.
But
I will
blindness, crits, disease, drowning, electricity, poison, stuns, all spells or attacks that affect your physiology or respiration, so no more mind fog. You have no physiology or respiration. Cannot drink, thus can't use potions, so that's a slight downside.
I like Joyful Rapture for getting rid of all those crushing despairs that people throw in your parties. Because it happens a lot. I feel like I get crushing despair all the time, so
Yeah, it does happen a lot. Yeah.
just have someone in the back being like, we're happy again.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Matthias, you're totally right. Like,
Prismatic Spray,
Undeath to
a
Death
really
is very
fun spell.
campaign dependent.
Not
and it
sure
doesn't
if
fit
it's
this
good.
campaign very well.
Because it's incredibly inconsistent just by design.
Which
but
one?
It is a Prismatic Spray.
Yeah,
It's a really fun spell.
it is.
In my original Kingmaker run, my first casual adventure, I spammed the fuck out of that one. Just because it was fun watching all the bullshit happen.
Especially if you just hit people with a baleful polymorph.
Mm-hmm. I literally got one of the Wild Hunt like monarchs with it and turned him into a puppy dog.
Send to
was
another
great.
plane forever. That's a fun one.
Yeah, it's literally just death. It just kills them.
Yeah, it's a good. It's a fun spell to use. I quite enjoy it.
Like I said, I would not say that it's a good spell. Like,
Yeah,
because like I said, it's very inconsistent. It can do as little as 10 damage, or as much as instant death. Like, it is a massive range of bullshit that can happen.
Yep.
But it's a really fun spell to use.
I don't like Caustic Eruption because it hits all creatures. So I guess if you had Selective Spell or something, you could negate that issue. But it's also like from your point.
Yeah, it's not a targeted thing. It's
Your
around
caster's
you.
not going to be at the front. Like,
Yeah. It's
I could
not-
see this being
not
useful
really
on like a
too great.
magus potentially. But mages can't get level 7 spells, can they?
no, they can't.
Or can they?
No.
I don't think so.
No. Level 6.
Yeah, I
Level
was gonna
6.
say I think they're level 6.
So yeah, not great.
That's literally the only kind of caster that I would think would be using something like this. Is potentially a magus, and they can't. So fuck it.
I think Key Shout also sucks. So
I don't even know. 1d6 per level, maximum 20. Stun for 1 round. It's single target. It is sonic damage, which there's not that many things that resist sonic
Which
damage.
is true.
But regardless, at this point, you're gonna be, if you're doing a blaster caster, you're gonna have ascendant element of the element that you're using. So
Yeah.
there's not gonna be any resistance anyway. So that's a non-argument for this particular
and
spell.
like when you get to level 8, there's Greater Shout, which isn't even affected by spell resistance. It's just like a cone version that isn't affected by spell resistance, so it's just better than Key Shout.
Yeah, that's what Cecilia literally was just saying.
Ha!
Sound spells tend to ignore spell resistance. Unfortunately, this one does not. The AoE ones can be very good. This one just no. This one just is not, unfortunately.
Ugh.
So yeah. Dragonkind 2 was great back when we could buy Scrolls of Dragonkind and Dragonkind 2 in Chapter 1. Kind of made Chapter 1 a joke when you could just buy Scrolls of Dragonkind. That was pretty great. Good times, good times. Owlcat hates fun because they patched him out. Which also got rid of Dimension Door spells, which allowed you to skip half of the Grey Garrison.
All right, so level 8.
Yep. I was about to say, I think we are done here with level 7.
Level 8.
All right, so let's go to level
Level
8,
eight.
which has maybe not as many good spells as level 7, but I think it has more really freaking great spells.
Yeah.
Like Sea Mantle, Mind
Sea
Blink,
Mantle.
Protection from Spells.
Mind Blink,
like
yep, protection from spells.
I would say all those are semi-necessary to what if you get to a high enough difficulty, maybe even completely
Yeah, I was
necessary.
gonna say,
And,
like,
and Frightful Aspect is also freaking phenomenal. Just because they can't resist that being shaken effect, which really helps with what is it, Shatter Defenses, right?
oh yeah, I actually did
yeah.
not think about that.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry. Like if you just have Frightful Aspect on, you're always getting that bonus from that.
Yep.
Once you get Frightful Aspect, which is freaking phenomenal, especially in a mostly melee party. Frightful Aspect is amazing.
There is one downside.
As are all those
There is
spells
one
I just
downside.
named. What's that?
Each time each creature shaken by this aura hits you with a melee attack, that creature becomes frightened. Gross. And then the duration, it's no longer affected by the aura.
Oh, whatever you're playing on, isn't there like a chance for them to resist it or something? Like, don't they get a?
No, it
have to
literally
make a
says
save?
each time a creature shaken by this aura hits you, it then becomes frightened. There is no save, according to the description in it. It just says if this happens, then this happens.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say I think the reason I've not noticed this is because I almost always use it on my clerics, because it's personal only. So I'm almost always using it like on my cleric, who is usually like farther back, so they're not getting hit, which I guess is why I've never noticed that. And you really only need it on one character, as many as you can put it on. The more you can put it on, the better. But you really only need it on one. And unless you're playing like a brown fur transmuter, I don't think there's any way to put it on others.
Yeah.
Right.
If you've been using the necromancy spells that deplete stats, like Waves of Exhaustion, Racking Ray, stuff like that, then Death Clutch is very nice. Because you can deplete their constitution with certain necromancy spells to make their fortitude save shit, and then you have a chance just to kill people outright.
That does require a lot of setup, though.
But I mean, that's what the point of those necromancy spells is, like they're set up for other things.
I guess.
Yeah, that I don't know. I've never really used Death Clutch. There's just so many other spells at this level that I feel are more important. Like Protection from Spells. They don't give you a communal version of this, which is freaking lame. So you need like 6 spell slots. More if you have animal companions. And then you also need spell slots for Frightful Aspect.
There was a necromancy.
And
sorry,
go on.
No,
go on.
I was saying there's a necromancy spell they put in through the Call of the Wild mod in Kingmaker that I wish made it into the game but didn't, and it was like I forgot what it was called. Maybe Matthias knows or someone else knows, but it's every round like they would become fatigued, then they would become exhausted, and then they would die. And if you hit them with Waves of Exhaustion first, then they would just die instantly when you used it on them if they were exhausted. And I was like,
Cecilia says that's Suffocate Mass.
It's so good. It was one of my favorite things. I made a whole witch character based on that in Kingmaker with the mod, and it was just you just murdered everybody instantaneously.
Yeah, I wish I'd looked into some of those Kingmaker mods, because about 75% of my Kingmaker playthroughs or my time spent playing Kingmaker was just trying to make some type of Lich style necromancy type character like that would actually work and be good, but I didn't really mess with mods at that time. So I never looked at any of the mods, and with just what they give you in the game, it is incredibly difficult to do. Like it doesn't really work. Like you can get something that's like kind of sort of semi-viable on like, normal, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyways. Okay, I don't think there are any terrible spells here that I'm looking at, or Polar Ray. Well, I still don't even think that that's terrible. Like, yeah, I don't think that any of these are truly terrible.
Not truly terrible. Just
Yeah,
not the
I
preference.
think the Polar Ray is probably one of the worst ones.
Yeah. If I had to say worst here, Polar Ray and Euphoric Tranquility, I think is pretty damn
I mean,
bad.
Soul
too.
Reaver is a fortitude save and affected by spell resistance and affects everyone. So,
A spell that we haven't mentioned, Cecilia just brought it up, is Storm Bolts.
Yeah,
Very strong AoE spell, does not affect your allies, so you don't have to worry about killing your own people.
it is centered
Yeah.
on you.
on my
It is
on
centered,
my
but it's a 30-foot burst, so it's a large range.
It is also
On
a
my-
fortitude save to negate this.
on my very first playthrough, just like where I actually beat the game after it released. This was actually my answer to swarms, like Storm Bolts on Ninio. I actually used all electric evocation damage spells. And I'm not going to say that it was the best build, but Storm Bolts I did find to be extremely effective, especially against swarms, of course, with Ascendant Element. But yeah,
Right.
I think Storm Bolts, I mean, I don't think it's one of the best spells here, but it's definitely not one of the worst either. Like, I think it's a viable spell, at least from my experience.
I like it a lot. It's really, really good.
All right, so level 9.
Level 9.
Best buff in the game right here, Heroic Invocation. I love this spell.
Heroic
So good.
Invocation is great.
AoE,
Mind Blank Communal.
also very, very good.
Why is this the best buff in the game?
Why? Because it gives you so much damage. Morale bonus is really hard to come by. Actually, I think it... Wait, does it do less than it did in Kingmaker?
I mean, a +4 morale bonus to damage is pretty... I mean, that is pretty good, but the +4 morale bonus to your attack, like, that's... You're probably... There's a good chance that you already have that effect from something else. You know,
I think
so you're...
maybe
don't
both
know.
Fear and Charm effects.
I
You're
like
immune to Fear and
Clashing.
Charm effect.
I like Clashing
Maybe
buffs.
it's not as good as I thought it was. Wait.
I mean, it's a good
I
buff
think-
that I usually use, but I
What's it
don't think it's one of the best.
I think one of the reasons that I loved it so much is because in Kingmaker in the speedrun, I used to be able to get it from a weapon that you get in Pytax Castle. And
that's pretty awesome.
it gave me a stuff that I couldn't get otherwise.
Cool, sweet.
So it's very, very it was very, very useful. It's been routed out since because we don't even go there anymore. But
I like Foresight.
Yeah, Foresight's really good.
Yeah. It's an
Um,
insight bonus to AC, which is great because you probably don't already have that, and it's never flat-footed.
right.
Yeah, I think the best spell here has got to be, though, freaking Weird. Like, Weird is awesome. It's amazing, and if you've got, like,
Yeah.
an illusionist,
Yeah.
like, you could pretty much kill entire hordes of enemies, just one-shot them. You can one-shot demon lords with this, and just so many enemies in the game. Like, if you have a Weird up, you're not going to lose the fight for most fights. There are some enemies like Glabrazoos, I think, that are actually immune to it. And of course, undead. But if you take it like on a sorcerer and you have the undead bloodline, which is what I would do with it before, then you can actually affect the undead with it too. Anyways, it's incredibly powerful, and I think it's the best one here. Mind Blank Communal is also freaking amazing. Although I want to say the nerf that didn't they make the Guarded Hearth a resistance buff now? Is that resistant, or I know they changed it?
I have no
I want
idea.
to say they changed it to resistance as the bonus that it gives, which would of course make Mind Blank Communal not nearly as good. But I'd say still really good. And those, along with Heroic Invocation and Foresight, I think are like the only really, really great spells here.
Cecilia says it's still sacred. For
No, for Guarded Hearth, I know they. Oh, maybe there was maybe the saving throw bonus is the same, but the attack bonus that you get, maybe they changed that to morale. I know that they nerfed it, but maybe they did keep the saving throw bonus the same for it and just nerfed the attack part of it. But anyways, yeah, if it's still a sacred bonus, then hell yes, Mind Blank Communal might be just as good or even better than Weird.
I like Overwhelming Presence. It's just it's really
Icy
easy
Prison.
to build good enchantment wizards.
Icy Prison Mass.
Icy Prison
It's
Mass
very
is good, but
I definitely had a fight that I lost because every single person in my party failed their save against Icy Prison Mass and couldn't get out again.
The issue with it is that after the initial, it's a fortitude save to like get out of it, and so it's just like they can almost any demon can just get out of it then.
Yeah,
but even if they do, they're still going to be slowed. They're still going to be taking that consistent damage. There are still residual effects.
Yeah.
Even if they're not fully CC'd, they're still going to be really, really slow.
I mean,
they're
that's
still
true.
going to be taking constant damage. For at this point, this is what minimum level 17. That's 17 minutes. Like even if you can't deal with the demon at that point, you cast this spell and then you just kite them around forever, and eventually they die.
That's true. Tsunami is a fun one.
Tsunami is a fun one.
No spell resistance.
Celia brings up a point. Mind Blank Communal does make it so that you cannot be seen through like Thought Sense, True Seeing, See Invisibility.
Yeah, it's
as well as the +8 resistance bonus.
Yep, divination.
That is another good point.
Yeah, there's let's see. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess we're good here on this. I don't think there's anything here that's truly terrible, right? Like that nobody should. Maybe
No.
Shades. Shades is pretty
pretty
bad.
More of
I actually don't know what Shades does.
It's
Conjuration spells of 8th
yeah.
level or lower. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those. Anyways, yeah. So that's pretty bad. Maybe, yeah. I was gonna say maybe Dominate Monster 2, but it's probably not terrible.
The single target bullshit.
Yeah.
Veil of the
single
Banshee
target
does
double.
affect your allies.
Yeah. I mean, I
So-
want Well of the Banshee to be good, but yeah, and you can't use meta magic, like selective meta magic on it either. I guess maybe you could if you're a trickster, but only if you're a trickster.
Yeah.
Isn't there a
And then I think shape change
is it a
pretty
trickster
bad.
specific ability
maybe
to reduce? Isn't there a mythic ability that lets you reduce the cost of a meta magic by 1?
Yeah, you can reduce it by 1. Yeah.
Okay, so then
It's-
you could get Wail of the Banshee and selective if you got that.
Selective, one of the ones that only cost 1.
Yeah.
I think it is. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So you could do that then.
You could do Wail of the Banshee selective. It would be a fairly decent investment because you would have to have selective spell, which you may or may not have at this point.
Yeah.
But you would also need to. That's basically a feat and a mythic ability
Yeah.
that you would need to dedicate to a single spell, basically.
Yeah. Next time we have a Lich playthrough, I gotta try that out. I gotta try that out for sure. I've not done that in previous ones, and that sounds like fun. Seems like fun.
Guys, we forgot a very important spell level.
0.
Yeah, we didn't talk about the
Yeah.
we didn't talk about the cantrips.
All of
Yeah,
them
well, let's
besides all of them besides guidance suck. There you go.
All of them besides guidance. I don't think that's true at all, but okay.
Yeah, disagree.
Yeah, definitely disagree.
Especially since guidance is not an available thing. Stop talking about other classes. Unsung, cheater.
The only other one I can think of is also the Divine Zap. It's also fine, I guess.
Divine Zap is amazing.
I don't like
Divine Zap is
the ranged attack cantrips. I think they all suck.
Daze is really good for early game.
Yeah,
That's not a
I was
ranged
gonna-
attack.
I don't think
It's close
Daze
range.
is really good, but I think it has some uses. Like I have used it before.
It is useful.
Daze is a
in early
DC
game.
cantrip. I was talking about like a ranged like attack cantrips.
Well, I was just talking about spells.
Oh.
I was not being specific in any way.
Because those elemental resistances come up pretty early on, so unless you're fighting just cultists, like they're useless if you don't have the ascendant element.
Well, I mean, cultists are the primary enemy that you fight in chapter 1.
I don't know. I do like to use the like acid splash ray of frost like in the shield maze and the cave beforehand just to target touch AC instead of having to
it's touch
target
AC instead
their
of
actual AC with a crossbow. But I will say that I do stop using them, usually after the shield maze. But I do find some use for them there. Also, the Smith spell is freaking amazing, and I'm so glad that they added that.
Oh my god, yeah. Just
Yeah.
Oh,
And,
you cast web and you accidentally didn't realize that you needed to walk across it. Well, have fun
Yeah.
just letting Valerie sit there for the next 12 minutes.
Yeah. So dismiss spell is pretty amazing. I never really used flare. Maybe it could have some use. It's just that you get that light of the angels at the very beginning, so why not just use that? I guess.
Right.
Anytime I've wanted to dazzle them, and I've never even tried disrupt undead or touch of fatigue. I do use resistance regularly, just because it's so basically free to use whenever you set
yeah,
up.
I was gonna say, like, before you have the cloaks, it's just a free +1.
Yeah. But anyways.
Disrupt undead, if you do come across undead, which I don't think that there are any that are super early.
Yeah.
It is the highest damage dealing cantrip.
Yeah,
It's
but
just 1d6 instead of 1d3. So
yeah, it does. Oh, I thought it was okay. Yeah, it is even a ranged touch attack. I was thinking for some reason it was a melee touch attack. So yeah, maybe in the Pataxian wine cellar or something that might be worth trying. Maybe. But okay, I think we're good here on these.
Yep. Pondoor, how's your time going?
I haven't contacted them yet. I need to do that very soon, though.
I feel like this is definitely taking much longer than we had anticipated. I think we all like to talk too much.
I mean, that's kind of the whole point of the show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all good.
So yeah, there's level 20 on Nenio.
I'm bad to the bone.
It is under napkins. So yeah, I am
Hey,
going
Nick
to...
Cage, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Hope you're enjoying the
Do
time.
that probably.
On our little
Nick Cage, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it.
discussion stream show.
So yeah, for those of you who don't know what the hell we're talking
Thank
about,
you.
I need to get my car towed into work today because
Yeah.
somebody decided to stab my tire a whole bunch.
Because if you're gonna do
and-
it, if it's gonna happen soon, this isn't like a bad stopping point. Like if we've got 2 other lists to go through, it would just make sense not to do them without you. Like if we're in between lists.
Well, like it's gonna take a while regardless. Yeah, it should. Yeah, I told you to never do that.
Hope all you guys are doing great. Matthias, Scyther, Lord Bovin, Jake, Nick Cage now as well, Jonathan.
All right, so
Igor, what's up, buddy? Hope you guys are having a good time in here.
So what while I'm doing this, what this? Oh, 9:42 p.m. is my ETA.
Yeah, I didn't think you were gonna get it by 9 if you called it 8. Well, actually, you called 20 minutes before 8.
That's perfectly fine with me. 9:42
Hey, no worries,
will get me
Scyther. I'm
to
just
work
always
right on
checking
time,
in
actually.
because I know that like
Maybe that'll
when people do other stuff while
yeah,
watching.
maybe that'll
Now,
give us enough
this
time
is-
to
this
actually
is
finish.
Still not guaranteed because
as
last
like
night
an active viewer on certain screens
when I made
that I
the
have.
request, they were like, "Yes, it'll be there at
But
10:47."
As
and
long
then I
as
got
you
a
guys
call
are
15
enjoying
minutes
it,
later
whether you're
saying,
quiet
"Hey,
and talking about, I don't
it'll
care.
be there by 5:30 a.m."
As long as you enjoy it,
Ah.
even if you use it like a podcast, then
Okay,
we've done
sure.
our jobs, you know. I just making sure everyone's having a good time.
So yeah, we will see if that is actually correct or not. But yeah, apparently I have time. If we want to start up another one.
Oh, Igor, how many minutes have y'all spent praising Greece? Actually, we kind of gave it a quick mention because it was obvious that it was good and we didn't really talk about it.
Yeah, we didn't talk about Greece too much. It's just, it's one of those that everybody knows it's super good.
Yeah. Oh, do I have to go through all this crap? Let's level up to get out of here.
Yeah, you just gotta do the thing.
Or if you want, you can actually go to respec again, which is what I did. You can just hit Control F10, respec again, and then hit escape whenever you're in character creation, and it'll take that away.
I'm almost done.
Okay. Which one did we say we're doing next?
I went to Social.
Okay, Divine.
All right, Divine it is. Divine it is.
So, question. You said that you liked Divine Zap more than the other cantrips. Why?
I think that's definitely the best cantrip. Like, not even close. For me personally, it's because I've won, like, battles at, like, level 10, 11 with where I was only able to use Divine Zap to damage the enemies in the Midnight Isles DLC. Yeah, and that's why, because it always deals damage. It can't miss.
It's the guaranteed damage aspect.
Yeah.
Understood.
I mean,
I'm like, it doesn't do more damage than the others.
Yeah,
it still has the same.
It never misses. Yeah, it never misses. So
Gotcha.
I mean, I had a few battles where it's like it took like 50 turns, but I had 3 people just dealing 1 damage a turn, and we actually survived instead of wiping.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, so that's why I think it's by far the best. Also, Virtue is. I also use. Is that the one that gives you 1 hit point? Yeah. I also use that
temporary hit point.
Just because with bubble buffs, Virtue, Guidance, and Resistance, they're just free, and you can put them all on with the same 1 click of a button that you're using everything else to buff with. Yeah.
Getting to Social's freaking spell list real quick.
So that's
Take
and then
longer. My God.
Oh my god.
Does anybody ever use Light?
Nope.
I did use it in Kingmaker.
I did in Kingmaker, but
when
no.
I've never once touched that spell. I've never used it.
Definitely used it in Kingmaker, but I've never used it here. So yeah, a good 5 years since I used it.
And the dismiss
Get
spell,
some
like
torches,
you guys
nerds.
said, is nice, and it's something they actually added. It's one of the things that they took from one of the mods, because they added it in Call of the Wild mod in Kingmaker.
Oh, did they?
And then they took that from the mod and incorporated it, just like they did turn-based.
Yeah, it was after release, because whenever Wrath of the Righteous actually released, there was no dismiss spell, and then everybody hated it.
They
added it.
a little bit.
Igor says he uses light until he gets Darren, and then Darren becomes his light.
Stop it.
Wow.
Bad.
That's very sweet of you.
Stop it.
I think it's because Darren has like a halo, right? But it's also like Igor's.
Stop it.
Igor's a slut for him. It's okay. All right. Level
level
1
spells.
Level 1.
Okay.
Bless.
So-
Bless.
Bane.
Bless.
Bane lets you skip half a chapter in Kingmaker.
Bane is great. But also like there's actually like that thing those like stupid bird things do that you need bless for now. So it becomes even more necessary than it already was.
Yeah, the Varrock's, that's a really good point. You can negate the spores damage.
Sure
That's
you
what
were,
they do. They
Igor.
give you those
Tell yourself
spores,
whatever you
and
need.
Bless will actually remove the spores debuff from you,
Yeah.
which is highly essential if you fight the Varrock in Chapter 1. So yeah, Bless is
Didn't know that
great.
they could do that.
I don't know if I would say it's the best level 1 spell here, but I would say it's definitely like top tier. I'd say like Bless along with Shield of Faith. Like those two are like
Remove
the
Fear
two.
is really good.
The two very best ones here. Remove Fear is definitely really good. Divine Favor can be pretty good.
Are you guys
There's
getting
not really-
feared at this early?
You can
I mean, a
get-
+4 is really good.
It's really
At
good.
any point.
Yeah, I think remove fear is good, but I think like I don't really get feared before my party just becomes immune to it because of Sela.
Yeah. In chapter 1,
Imagine using
in our most
like a
recent
scrub lord.
there is the necromancer that you can fight in the town square, and especially like on unfair or hard. I've even had it happen on core difficulty though. He'll do like a mass fear that pretty much wipes your party if you let him get it off.
Gotcha.
Now I always beeline him and try to just knock him out before he can do that. But if he gets the fear off, then having removed fear is, really, really helpful to have.
Igor makes a good point. Divine Favor is a luck bonus, which don't really come around very often.
That's why I said Divine Favor is pretty damn good. It's only a +1 and it's only 1 minute, but the luck bonus, it's possible that you could be using that for
it goes up to +3 eventually.
Really long time. Oh yeah, that actually is true. I usually don't use it that late, but yeah.
And we're just gonna say this flat out so we don't ever have to talk about them again. Yes, the healing spells are good. End of conversation. We don't need to talk about the healing spells ever again now because they're healing spells. They're the only things that do the healing.
The healing spells are good, I'll say, except for heal and heal mass. None of them are great though, but they're all good.
Now, here's a caveat: you never have to prep them on Socio.
True.
So why would you ever?
And I mean, here's the deal. At some point, like, the only time I really use healing spells is, like, between combat. If I'm in combat, I am using positive energy. Like,
well, that's why I say heal and heal mass are the only ones that are actually great, because those are the only ones that I'll even consider using in combat.
Yeah, exactly. I will say, if you get the mythic stuff I don't know if it's the mythic or if it's from his class that allows Darren to like shoot heal spells at you from range.
It's a mythic ability.
Can get that.
Yeah, that becomes very useful.
There's also a really awesome crossbow, I think, in Act 4 that gives you that ability without having to take the mythic ability, which I always throw on my healer.
I did not know that.
And like, because there are fights where like I want my healer just spamming the tank, just like, here you go, and that's all they do.
Yeah, for sure.
It's great.
Like a WoW boss.
Yeah. Depends on your race. Okay. I've hurt myself healing. Yeah, well, don't be a Dampier and you won't have that problem.
Yeah. There are some pretty terrible spells here, too, like Doom and
Haze of Dreams.
Fire Belly's pretty damn terrible. Haze of Dreams is really terrible. Cause Fear is really terrible.
I don't think Stunning Barrier is good enough.
Summon Monster is really terrible. Yeah, Stunning Barrier is like, I've tried to use it to some good effect, but I never actually have. Still in my mind, like, I imagine, like, maybe it could be good in some situation, but I've certainly never found it.
There's Unbreakable Heart, which is just like those other things it gives a +4 for don't make up for the fact that it's single target.
It's also rounds per level. No.
Unbreakable Heart is amazing for Leper's Smile against the Beskavor enemies and stuff that you fight there, because it will increase your saves against their gibbers or whatever the hell it is that they use, and so I actually find it extremely helpful for that area.
I can
at
see
least.
That. You just need to have enough of them to use them, because it's rounds per level.
Normally you won't, but in that area, I think it's worth making like using up the spell slots for it in that area, just because there's so many of them. But yeah, and then the rest of the spells here I think are pretty kind of like meh. Also, Inflict Light Wounds I think is also pretty bad, as I think most of the Inflict Wounds spells are.
Yeah.
Just because I don't know if you've ever tried to use them for damage, but they're crap for damage, even though they seem like maybe they should be okay for damage. Like, yeah, they're pretty terrible for it. In actual effect. I mean, I guess if you have an all Dampier party, then they're every bit as good as the actual pure spells, but otherwise I feel like they're a lot worse than what they should be.
I will say what Igor says, when you make the healings ranged attacks, if you get the Trickster knack for sneak attack healing, they are raised and they are considered sneak attacks if you can so you can still you'll be able to like sneak attack heal your party from a distance if you make a healing trickster character.
Yeah. I've never tried to make a healing trickster character, but yeah, I do remember the sneaky healer, I think it's called, ability. Yeah, I've never tried to do that, but
I mean,
could be interesting.
Support characters go hard with the trickster mythic path in my experience. I made a trickster bard, and all I did was buff my party with the most ridiculous bullshit spells, and then throw fish at enemies.
Yeah, dude, fish missile is fucking amazing. I love fish missile. Fish missile and beer elemental.
In my life.
Like we had a whole freaking deal on the channel about beer elementals whenever they actually changed the beer elemental model from the water elemental model to the beer elemental model.
And the whole time I did my trickster run, they weren't beer, and I was so upset.
Yeah, we did a whole thing about it because that was awesome. It's like, yes, beer elementals are actually beer now. Anyways, getting a little off track there.
Level 2.
Level 2, we've got the stat buffs. We've got the stat buffs. Always good. Protection from alignment. I don't think we have to go over the spells that cross over in different lists that we've already gone over.
Not at all.
No.
I would say that, we just go over the ones that we haven't seen yet.
I like Sound Burst.
Speaking of,
I like
Effortless Armor.
Effortless Armor is great early on.
Yep.
I like Sound Burst. I think it's a fun one to use, and like you said, not a lot of things resist sound damage, sonic damage. So I enjoy that one. If you get off a stun or whatever, it's a nice surprise.
Right.
Find Traps is kind of useless in this game. I liked it a lot in Kingmaker, but I don't really care for it in Wrath. I don't think there's enough traps to like warrant using it for any reason.
Yeah.
Find Traps is good for enduring spells. Oh yeah, I guess that's true, but like early on you're not gonna have that. Would you say Recreational Pit best one? Oh, that's the Trickster spell. Never mind. I know what you're talking about.
I was gonna say, we're not talking about those.
Stop it.
Yeah, the most annoying one maybe.
I've used
weapon might be decent early on.
Align Weapon's pretty good. I like that one.
If you're trying to get over damage reduction.
I've given Arrow of Law to Darren and just had him shoot it at people in the back if he has nothing else to do. To be honest.
All right, did we? I don't know if you mentioned Grace or not, but I've actually found Grace to be pretty helpful, like on Social, whenever he actually does get targeted.
That's pretty That's a good idea.
Yeah, and it's a swift action too, so you can still do whatever else you need to do in the turn. It's actually saved me a few times, which is pretty nice. The protection from alignment spells, we already talked about them. They're amazing. Lesser Restoration is really good.
Lesser Restoration. That is
Yeah, like that's really helpful. It stays kind of helpful even throughout, but especially early on, it's really helpful.
All of the restoration spells are pretty much necessary. Like, you're gonna need lesser restoration. You're gonna want restoration until eventually you can get like the better curing type spells. But those are like lesser restoration. I use a fuck ton throughout the fight.
Yeah. I also really like Remove Paralysis because it is what I wish Remove Curse and Remove Sickness and all the other removal spells are, which is just straight up the effect is gone instead of having to make a DC check.
Yeah, Remove Paralysis is nice.
That's definitely my favorite removal spell like that.
Especially against those undead that just paralyze the crap out of you.
Yep, pretty annoying. And Find Traps.
We do also get a precursor to one of the best spells in the game. We have Delay Poison Single Target.
Yeah, which is nice, I guess, to have early. It's just once you get to level 3 spells, like you'll never use it again because you're using the AoE. Right. But yeah, before you have that, it's really good.
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention Find Traps, not because it's actually that great, but there will come a point where you don't really need to cast any of these level 2 spells at all, and at least then you can cast Find Traps to get some kind of a bonus. So I actually find, even though this is a level 2 spell, it's a spell that I use much more later in the game than I do early on. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, Igor was like just slap enduring spells on Find Traps later on, and then you're good to go on that.
There you go.
And
yeah, like there, Igor.
Igor, Bone Shaker is good. We did talk about it with the Arcane spell list. As well.
So on to level 3.
Level 3. We've got obviously the Anime Dead, Delay Poison Communal, one of the most needed spells in the game.
Very, very good spell, both in Kingmaker and Wrath of the Righteous.
Resist Energy Communal.
Prayer.
Prayer is great. Prayer is so
Prayer
fucking
is
good.
really good.
Prayer is so good. One of the
luck
best.
bonus.
Yeah.
Luck bonus on a bunch of different rolls, saves, damage, attacks,
and then
skill
possibly
checks.
penalizing the enemies as well on top of that. Just good. I do like Archon's aura as well, just because
I was actually just taking a look at that. I couldn't remember what it
it
was.
lasts so long.
Yeah, it's pretty helpful. Just because, like as long as you have it there, even if you don't have anything put into your evocation DC, like sometimes they're just going to get a bad roll and it's going to affect them. And so why not use it since it lasts such a long time?
Yep.
Did you mention Magical Vestment? Because Magical Vestments is incredibly good.
Not yet, no.
It's not as good as it used to be now that you can't just throw it on naked characters to get a buff from it. But it's still really good.
Does it work on armored shields that already have an enhancement bonus?
Yes, it does. It increases the enhancement bonus up to 5. It's like magic weapon or greater magic weapon, not magic weapon.
Does it work on bracers?
That I'm actually not sure. I don't think so.
It says armor or shield, so I assume no.
I don't think it does. I've never just tried it.
Yeah, I was about to say, but bracers give you an armor bonus, so I'm not sure if it's actually like checking the armor slot or if it's checking if you have an armor bonus.
It depends though, right? Because armor and shields are always like an armor bonus, and some bracers are an armor bonus, and some are there's like the bracers that are a luck bonus.
I was speaking specifically about the bracers of armor.
Yeah, I just don't know if they would have
I should have been a bit more.
I don't know if they would have coded that in.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe it would make sense if it did, but
I feel like it would be like it would just go down to does it check for an armor slot or
Igor, we did talk about resist energy
if you have an armor bonus
as one of our favorites,
then even if you don't have it in
for
your
sure,
armor slot,
especially when you pair it with protection from energy communal. We also talked about Dispel Magic before and Animate Dead, which are both really good.
Still good, regardless, I think, especially early game, if you have, like, just non-magic armor, somehow, at level 3 spells, if you have non-magic armor.
If you do what you do.
Then this is great. If you do... Even if you do have magic armor, you're not going to have that good of one yet.
I would say
so. This is still going to be a benefit to you.
I would say remove disease is not necessary. There's other ways to get rid of diseases that don't cost you a spell slot. So, I never use remove disease. I just use the first aid bullshit and get rid of diseases, or just let them pass.
I mean, I'll throw this on maybe like once I don't have any better spells to put here, but I never really use it, even whenever I do actually put it on there. Like, maybe I'll find a chance to use it, and then I never do. Remove disease. We talked about remove curse. Remove blindness, I think, is also there you go. This is another one that actually just straight up removes it. No DC check.
Gone.
Not a ton of blindness, but that's pretty damn helpful whenever you are blinded.
Agreed.
Searing Light is one of the only offensive damaging spells that we've seen so far for specifically divine casters, and it's not terrible. It's pretty okay. Obviously, it's a hell of a lot better against undead, but it's not terrible.
Okay. Yeah, I guess if you're wanting to be a ranged caster, then yeah.
I mean, if you got nothing better to use your spell slots on, then it's a good filler.
I mean, there's no. It's just a ranged touch attack too, so like, there's no save to like half the damage. I don't think it's just.
Yeah, it's
does the
just you
damage.
got to get over spell resistance.
So that's nice. That is nice.
Yeah, and then of course the spell magic and resist energy. We went over those before, but I'd say
Yep.
resist energy at least is essential. Resist energy communal. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So.
All right.
Level
four.
4. We got protection from energy communal, which we talked about last time. Pairing that with resist energy communal is really nice. You've got
Shield of Dawn can be good, but it
Yeah.
is fire damage.
It's very. Yeah, it can be. It can be. Restoration's good for the
can
same
be.
reason that lesser restoration is.
Yep.
I'd say at least for me, like the top tier here, like not
Death
that these
Ward?
are the only good ones, but by far the best ones here are Death Ward,
Death Ward.
Freedom of Movement, Restoration, and Crusader's Edge. Like those four, I feel like
Crusader's
are,
Edge is
like,
good, yeah. I always.
Crusader's
I always put that
Edge
on.
is phenomenal. Yeah, like it does. It's really
Oh
good.
yeah.
And then Dismissal, maybe not quite at that same rank or level, but if you build right, we kind of mentioned it before, but you can Dismissal is extremely powerful if you have like a DC like built
Agreed.
caster.
I do like
Agreed.
Order's Wrath, especially if you are playing with a more lawful party in case it hits one of your own guys. Better than Holy Smite for the reason that there are more chaotic neutral enemies than there are neutral evil enemies in the game. I've actually gone through and like checked out like every enemy's type's alignment, and most of them are just chaotic and chaotic evil across the board. So Order's Wrath is pretty good. Holy Smite not as good because there aren't really a bunch of neutral evil enemies in the game.
Yeah, so if we want to look at some here that are maybe garbage, Unholy Blight, just because they're not. Unholy Blight is for good creatures, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not great.
Yeah. So Unholy Blight, pretty damn terrible. Symbol of Revelation, extremely terrible. We went over that. Spit, Venom, and Poison, I also feel like are terrible.
Yep.
And Neutralize Poison, I feel like is just about as worthless as you can get without actually being worthless.
Yep.
So like all those spells there, I would say never use, at least in Wrath of the Righteous setting, never use those. Unholy Blight might be good in a different setting, or you might be able to at least get some use out of it in a different setting.
I will say, if you are building a character that is focusing on enchantment spells and whatnot, I have used Force Repentance before. It is only one creature, which is annoying, but you can take that creature out of the game, like, for the fight. So.
Cool.
Holy Smite
I said
is an AoE version of Unholy Blight.
But Order's Wrath is just better because affecting chaotic is better than affecting evil monsters in this game.
Fair enough.
Because most of the cultists are actually chaotic neutral.
Weird. But it is an alternative.
It is.
It is an alternative.
Divine Power, I usually just slap that on. Because why not? It's a luck bonus. Temporary hit points.
This does not stack with prayer.
Yeah, I know, but it's
Which-
gonna be more for the single character that you're using it on than prayer is.
Not by much though. Because like if we're thinking about this is most likely going to be social.
But
right?
prayer is only a +1 forever, right? Yeah.
This is also only a +1.
Divine,
forever.
it says maximum +6.
Oh wow, there's a lot before you get down there. Okay. Yeah, okay. Never mind.
Yeah, so it's good for Socio. It's himself. I usually put it on him.
It also gives you a another attack, but you're most likely going to have some kind of arcane caster in there to cast haste. So the extra attack, I don't think.
No, but there's just no downside to putting it on other than using a spell slot.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. I didn't realize that it scaled. I'm going to be honest. That was the main reason that I was against it. But yeah, I definitely think that Death Ward and Freedom of Movement are probably the two best ones here.
Yeah.
And then Restoration after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Level 5.
Level 5.
Level 5. I like this.
Flame Strike is pretty good.
Flame Strike is
like
pretty
Flame
good. You've got True Seeing. There's Serenity again, one of my favorites. Underrated.
Raise Dead in case you fuck up.
Breath of Life is good, but there's so many ways to get Breath of Life on like so many characters that it's not like as urgent as it usually would be.
It also it used to be bugged.
That's true.
Where it just didn't do anything. Because well, it would heal, but it wouldn't bring them back. It wouldn't bring them back from the dead. Even if you healed them in the exact round after.
Yeah, I was going to say I've never gotten Breath of Life to work, so I don't use it. Maybe it's not bugged anymore, but
they did have something in the patch notes a while back that said that they fixed it.
Dozens of examples if you go back and look at our early streams of me using this in turn-based mode immediately after a character dies, and like it does nothing, even though you know, yeah. Anyways,
Igor says inflict light wounds mass is an unconventional way to trigger that mythic feat that gives bonuses when you hurt your party.
Yeah. I mean, definitely a good use there. I don't remember how good that is because I never really use it, but I do remember that and trying to think of ways to proc it. And yeah, I guess that would be one way to do it. That would be pretty minimal on the actual amount of damage that you're dealing. I feel like for sure, though, the best spells here are Raise Dead and Spell Resistant. Maybe you could argue against Raise Dead just because you can get the scrolls, but they are extremely expensive.
Yeah.
On the other hand, they're only 1,000 gold more than the diamonds you need to cast Raise Dead yourself.
Yeah,
I do like.
That is true.
Like Raise Dead in and of itself is still pretty expensive.
I like,
but I feel like. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I like Burst of Glory because it's a plus. It's a sacred bonus.
Yeah, I do use Burst of Glory quite a bit, but mostly just because I can usually use my domain slot for that, and
yeah,
I kind of hate Break Enchantment.
Yeah, because Break Enchantment sucks. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I will use Burst of Glory a lot because of that. Pillar of Life is also really, really good for some niche things like just stacking them to auto kill hard enemies and stuff like that. I've never actually done that, but I know that there are people who do that, and it can be really powerful in that way.
When you're just fighting undead, you can like put the pillars in like choke points, and the undead just all run through them. And
you can actually you can actually kill Playful Darkness that way too if you have enough of them. You can just one shot. Yeah, you can one shot him. Yeah. So I mean, Pillar of Life, if you're willing to play in that way, is also really, really good.
I didn't know for the longest time when I first used it that it only can be benefited from once. And so I would have my characters continuously like run through it and not get healed, and I would be like, what the hell is going on?
Bugs! I hate bugs. Yeah.
Speaking of, I can't actually prepare any spells right now. I'm like trying to drag Pillar of Life and try to double click.
I guess I'm just better. Alright.
Yep, you're definitely better.
Igor says he loves Greater Command. So
there it is.
I mean, Greater Command is good for like the things that it can do. My only issue is like I don't like if I can avoid single target enchantment spells, I'll do it.
Yeah, I don't really like the single target ones either. Like, let's go ahead and mention Life Bubble now. I know we mentioned it before, but anyways, this was the one that they were talking about that if you're having issues with Mind Fog, you can use this Life Bubble. And unlike the Delay Poison Communal, it'll actually stop Mind Fogs. There are probably a few other things in the game too that we're not thinking of or aren't aware of. But it can have its uses like that. It does take a lot of spell slots though, because there's no communal version of it. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that since we.
Why
I do want to talk about Greater Command a little bit more, because the target says that it's one enemy creature, but it is a radius with multiple enemies being affected by it. So the target here is incorrect. It is multiple enemies in a 30-foot radius.
Yeah, so that is good
right there.
If you can just make them all fall down.
I think what it is, I think what the target is you target an enemy and then enemies within 30 feet of your target. So it's not like Fireball where you can place it on the ground. You actually have to target a person.
So that's fun if you just want to make everyone fall down or stop moving.
Well, the thing is like that. It seems like you then have to like click on them all and manually give them commands afterwards. What? Which if you're playing in real time seems like
that's not how command works.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
I've literally never used it.
You pick the command first and then use it.
Yeah. And then they'll do whatever the command is. Yeah.
Gotcha. Understood. Okay.
Yeah, so you can just make everyone stop moving. Just hold.
Yeah, that might be worth trying someday. Well, someday whenever I build an enchanter. Probably never happen, but maybe.
Ew, enchanting.
Yeah, I don't like enchanting in this game.
Gross.
All right, so level 6 spells.
We got the mass buffs, which we love.
Yeah, phenomenal for sure.
I talked about it before. I'll talk about it again. Chains of Light.
Heal.
Chains of Light. Reflex save. Not affected by spell resistance. Good.
Heal is very good.
For sure. Yes, heal is extremely good. I would say heal, banishment, and Hellfire Ray, for me at least. Like, those are the 3 top spells here.
What about Eagle Soul?
I do use Eagle Soul. It's pretty good. Yeah.
Because it's a +4 sacred bonus to strength, which is the only source of a sacred bonus to an ability score that I think I've seen.
That can't be right. I'm trying to think. Isn't Foresight a sacred bonus also? Although,
no, Foresight's
is that? Oh, an insight.
Is it a sacred? Is it a bonus to an ability score?
Yeah, you might be right. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Definitely can't think of any.
Foresight?
I'm sure there's something that's level 9.
You can't even get it as a.
Oh, it's not a divine spell.
Yeah.
You'd have to go back to menu.
But yeah, I mean, Eagle Soul is definitely good here as well. Oh, Dispel Magic Greater, I actually should have put that in the same tier with Banishment and Heal and Hellfire Ray. Yeah, incredibly good.
Joyful Rapture for getting rid of Crushing Despair. Banishment's a good time if you succeed. Like, I usually just throw it out at the beginning just in case you banished anyone.
Yeah. Well, if you build specifically for it, like you can
just end a fight immediately.
Yeah, it's pretty much like Weird, except it doesn't work on as many enemies.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like a level 6 Weird. At least whenever you're fighting demons, you can end the fight in 1 turn, if you build for it. But yeah, True Saint Communal also extremely good here, and I mean, I don't know if any of these spells are necessarily bad. I would say Plague Storm is probably the worst of them, I would have to say.
Inspiring Recovery would be good if I paid enough attention to use it quickly enough.
Yeah, it's kind of like Breath of Life.
In real time, it's
literally just better Breath of Life.
In real time, it's just too hard to use. In turn-based, I feel like it'd be really effective, but in real time, I don't catch my people dying within 2 rounds enough to to use it.
I have literally on multiple occasions back before they patched it. I haven't tried it since they patched it. The instant somebody goes down, I run over to cast Inspiring Recovery or Burst or Breath of Life on them, and they get back above 0 and they still die because the game thought that it had been 2 rounds already.
Yeah, it's
All right. I guess
It has apparently been fixed since then, but I have not tested it myself, so I cannot say.
I was just gonna say real quick. We could also mention harm, like for if you're playing as a lich and you've got an all undead party, or if you're playing with an all Dhampir party. Harm is basically heal for you.
True.
Then I would say it's definitely not as good because just not as many players are going to be playing in that way. But if you are, then I'd say harm is, just as essential as heal if you are playing in that way.
For all you Dhampir peeps out there.
Blade Barrier can also be fun. Especially if you have like Pillar of Life, Blade Barrier traps for undead.
Yeah, it can be used in that same kind of way. I kind of hate Blade Barrier, mostly because I guess of the enemies that use it, and it annoys the hell out of me.
Yeah, it does. It's so fucking annoying.
It gets incredibly annoying.
I hate
whenever
it
the enemies
so
are
much.
using it against you.
Yeah.
That's why you gotta turn it against them.
Yep. But anyways, I guess
I will say,
pretty good
even
for
though
here.
it is a fortitude save, Plague Storm doesn't get affected by spell resistance.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't like spells that have like I don't know. I don't like the wandering spells or the spells that you don't have a definite like answer of what it's going to do. Like it has like a varied effect or something like that. Like to me, Plague Storm falls under one of the spells that the enemy can use extremely effectively against me, but if I try to use it against the enemy, its effectiveness is pretty
And it
minimal.
does affect party members, but if you run with an all undead party, are they immune to disease?
I feel like
I don't know.
should be.
They should be.
Don't actually recall. It's been so long since I've done that.
For a
I don't
Lich
recall for
playthrough,
sure.
Plague Storm could be effective.
But I mean, Plague Storm, I think, is another thing that Life Bubble would protect you against, though. Yeah. I don't actually know that, but I feel like it should be because it's a gray cloud. So yeah, similar to a fog cloud. So yeah, Life Bubble. And in the Midnight Fane, there actually is a Plague Storm that has come close to wiping me. So there's another instance where Life Bubble might be pretty good. Maybe just use Life Bubble in the Midnight Fane because both of the instances I could think of or recall where it would be helpful were in the Midnight Fane. So, Anyways, it's one spell that I can't get to work that well against enemies, but it always owns me. That's why I was throwing it out there as one of the worst ones here, probably the worst.
Gotcha.
In my assessment. All right, so level 7 spells.
Level 7. We've got.
There's an objectively correct answer as to the best spell here, and it's Dictum because it sounds hilarious.
I actually use Dictum quite a bit. It's always Dictum is one of those ones that you can just throw it out at the beginning of the fight, and maybe you CC or kill some enemies. So.
How often are the enemies really a lower level? And if they are, then like it's not really that hard of a fight, anyways, right? I don't know. That's my thought on spells like this.
There's not a lot of great stuff here anyway, though, in my opinion. So
I feel like Resurrection's pretty damn great. Like,
but not great enough to use on all 8 spell slots.
No,
Restoration
not great
greater, Jolt
Yeah.
important.
Greater Restoration, Resurrection. I think those are definitely the two best here.
Maybe not.
As far as anything else here, I want to say Bestow Grace of the Champion's pretty damn good, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So that's one right there that I might definitely want instead.
Waves of Ecstasy.
I do like waves of ecstasy.
Yeah, I don't think they're.
It's also
I guess
hilarious that they literally have a spell that's basically, yes, you force your opponent to orgasm, and then they can't function normally for a while.
Yep, that's basically what it is.
That is exactly what it is.
Yep, hit them with that orgasmo ray.
Yep.
Orgasmo ray.
I don't know. I feel like Bestow Curse Greater is actually pretty good too, or worth using. I've used it sometimes, mostly in the Midnight Isles runs. Anyways, I don't know. I feel like it's definitely something that I would use over Dictum, anyways, just because if you do get it to land, that's a pretty big penalty. -12 to any one of these scores, or -8 on attack rolls, saves, ability checks, and skill checks. Although ability checks and skill checks don't matter so much, but on attack rolls and saves, that's pretty big.
Yep.
So
Yeah, taking a -12 to an ability score, if you target the right one, can just kill a lot of even the highest level enemies.
yeah,
Or damn close to it.
You can definitely negate a lot of their effectivenesses with this right here.
And if you hit it hit them with it twice, then like especially the -12 to the idiocy curse. Because it's a will save. If you just drop their will save to like a +2 the first time, and then hit them with it a second time, they're just dead. So this is potentially a 2-hit KO on any given enemy. Because like a lot of the something that we haven't mentioned about a lot of the spells that reduce ability scores, a lot of them have a floor. They can't drop it below 1, right?
Yeah.
This one does not have that. You can straight up kill somebody with this spell. Which it is a thing.
Yeah.
You just have to find out which of their stats is the weaker stat.
Yeah.
Which honestly, with a lot of them, you could just guess and be fairly accurate on your guess.
Yeah.
Kristen's got a really good point for this spell level, since there aren't a whole lot of great spells that you would maybe want to fill your spell slots with, and that is that he likes to use heightened meta magic to use different spells to heighten to this level, which I think is a really good choice, because there really aren't a whole lot of great spells here. Like I usually use Resurrection and Restoration, and then I just kind of randomly put whatever else I feel like trying in there, just because there's not a lot of other great spells here.
Restoration in this entire thing. It's like all of them are greater restoration and resurrection.
But with heighten though, you could have 4 or 5 or 6 more heals here or something like that. You could add in a bunch more heal spells or whatever it is you're trying to do. You can just take your spells and put them here. So yeah, good point. All right,
that is valid.
So level 8.
Level 8. I've never seen Shield of Law before, but I just read it, and it seems nice. It's a plus, so it's...
Yeah, I think I use it. Yeah.
Well, +4 deflection and resistance is for all attacks, not just ones by chaotic creatures. And then you've got spell resistance against chaotic spells and chaotic creatures. Mind affecting effects, and then if they are succeeding in attacking you with a melee attack, they become slowed, possibly. That's a lot of stuff.
I will mention, a lot of people are going to have a deflection bonus to AC at this point, and a resistance bonus to save at this point.
Yeah, I would say that both of those are non-consideration, because I mean, at the very least, you'll probably be able to put Shield of Faith on everybody, which will give everybody, the deflection bonus. And I would imagine everybody's got a +4 cloak by now, or some other resistance bonus to their save.
Like, just having a +4.
So those are kind of negated.
Like, these are level 15 characters at this point. If we're using level 8 spells.
Yeah.
Like a minimum of level 15.
Yeah. Like that's The
so-
lowest you can get it at, yeah.
Yeah, we do have to take that into consideration.
Well,
that
what-
this first section is basically a non-thing.
But I mean,
The others are still good.
what
I'm
cloaks
not,
are you using? Because I've only ever gotten to like +5 cloaks anyway. So how is that different than a +4? Besides being +1 more.
Well,
What do you mean?
I'm just saying
that
this-
your cloak's going to negate the resistance bonus.
Yeah,
that
but
it gives.
it can offer, if you use it, it offers up the chance for you to find cloaks that do other things besides resistance.
It's only 1 round per level though, so
it's
No.
not a
I
consistent
mean,
thing.
I don't need more than 15 rounds in most fights, though. Like, that's a lot
well,
of
yeah,
rounds.
but how many fights are you gonna have? Like that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
like,
Like if
we're
you have
saying
the
that this
cloak, you
can't
have the
be a-
+4 resistance bonus all the time for every single fight, not just for the 3 tough fights that you decide to use it in or whatever.
I mean, that's true. I like allocating my resources
it's a
to allow for-
consideration to bring up. It's a consideration to bring up.
Oh,
is
for
all I'm
sure.
saying.
I'm just saying, like, there's so many cloaks that do other things, and I prefer most of them to resistance cloaks if I can.
I mean,
find
I
ways around
agree.
it.
Like, I usually have like cloaks that are like +2 but do something else as well, rather than just having a straight +4 or +5 cloak. So like I would still get a part of this, but even those, like, it's still a +2, so you're still not getting that full +4 resistance bonus. There are very few cloaks that I've seen in this game that don't give a resistance bonus at all. Most of them just give a lower one. That also does something else, right?
Yeah, Igor, Frightful Aspect is a goodie. And I would say if Shield of Law is like Holy Aura, but Law instead of good, then I would prefer it over Holy Aura, just because, like I said, there's more chaotic enemies than there are just good or just evil enemies. I've done the math. There just are more chaotic.
Angelic Aspect Greater is also very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Frightful Aspect, I think, is the best one here out of all of these. Firestorm's really good if you're, playing that like a damage fire
Here's
healing.
the question: do Frightful Aspect and Angelic Aspect, are those mutually exclusive?
I want to say they are.
I feel like they are, but I can't remember.
I don't know. We'd have to test it to see, but yeah, I think one takes the place of the other. I think.
If we're talking just damaging spells, we have Firestorm and Stormbolt. Both of them are very good.
Yep.
Firestorm, I think, does slightly less damage. Yeah, Stormbolt is 1d8 versus Firestorm is 1d6, but we mentioned earlier, Stormbolt is centered around your caster,
And
whereas
Firestorm,
Firestorm is a targetable.
you also take damage over time with Firestorm.
Yeah.
Yes. If they fail, they're safe.
Which I
So
think
there are a
like
couple of very good
reflex to like take damage over time, in my opinion, is better than trying to stun them against a fortitude save.
Yeah, probably so. Like,
Yeah,
most of the
I would
time
say
you're-
that Firestorm is probably the better spell overall over Stormbolt. Stormbolt's just a slightly higher damage potential.
Yeah.
On a save, on a successful save from the enemy. If the enemy fails their saves, then Firestorm just runs away with the extra DOT. So yeah. Level 9.
There are 6 spells.
Yeah. I think we all know which one the best is.
Heal mass.
Energy
Polar
Drain.
Midnight. Didn't we discuss this before? Polar Midnight and the Arcane Spells, and it was the best one there too.
Polar Midnight was
No?
not in the Arcane
No,
Spells.
it's not an arcade. It's not in the arcade list.
No, Cecilia actually mentioned Icy. We were talking about Icy Prison.
Yeah.
No, it was Polar Ray. Polar Ray is the one I'm thinking about.
Ah,
It
And
was,
Polar
yeah.
Midnight
Yeah.
hurts your allies, and it's a huge, like it's a big
yeah, I
area.
was trying to be
it's a
sarcastic,
large
but
area.
Polar Ray, so I screwed it up. My bad. I was thinking it was one that we'd already done. But it was Polar Ray. Yeah, Polar Midnight is not very good. It's probably the worst one here. Well, that or Summon Monster.
Before a counterpoint to that, if we combo a Icy Prison into Polar Midnight, Icy Prison sets the dex to 1. If they fail their save for Icy Prison, and then Polar Midnight will do dex damage. So that is a combo that can instant kill.
Interesting.
I will also say
instant kill combo, huh?
Winds of Vengeance is really, really nice if you want the maneuverability, and also like total concealment against ranged attacks is pretty good.
Yeah, I think Winds of Vengeance is definitely a good like buff to have here. I would definitely
heal mass,
use it.
good. Overwhelming presence is fine too.
Okay, so, and yeah, we already spoke about energy drain before as well. Yeah. So yeah, pretty much all these. None of these are worthless or terrible, at least completely.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So, all right, sweet.
Ugh.
Yep, that is 2 out of the 3. I don't think that we're gonna have enough time to get the last one.
That's okay.
Hey, man,
we got 25 minutes. I don't think we can get through the last group. Which is unfortunate.
That's okay. We can always pick it up next time and just tack it onto the beginning of whatever else we're gonna talk about. So, the last one is the nature spell list, which is typically a combo of different divine and arcane spells anyway. Like, I don't actually think there are that many spells that are only on the nature list.
I will say one thing. Shaman does not have the full nature spell list.
How does it not? It's level 9
it
spells.
But it's its own spell list. It's not the druid nature spell list. I'm looking through, and there are so many spells that I remember. Like, it doesn't have a lot of stuff. It doesn't have like Magic Fang. It doesn't have a lot of spells. Just that I know that Ikundao has as a range.
Oh yeah, well, Magic Fang is only for classes with animal companions.
But I'm saying, like, it doesn't have access to a lot of spells that I know the nature spell list has.
Are you talking about Shaman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we
could just make the a druid and just have a druid at level 20.
I was going to say that if y'all want to, since we don't have that much time to finish that, it was pointed out that we are missing quite a few of the domain spells. If y'all wanted to, we could go through and look at those for the divine spells. I don't know how many of those will or won't overlap with the arcane and the druid that we're doing anyways. Or alternatively, we could go over paladin spells, because I know paladins have spells that you're not going to find on a druid or a cleric or any other class. So either one of those could be an option.
The domain spells will overlap. There aren't any domain spells that are only on domain spell lists. They're all from other spell lists.
Yeah. We can look through the paladin stuff real quick.
We have to get a paladin.
We have Sela.
Yeah, I just need her to be higher level.
Oh, do you not have her maxed?
So paladin it is.
Do I have her max? Oh, she is max. Hello, level 20.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I don't know what's happening here, but
all right.
Everybody should be at max level, yeah.
My Sela is only at level 17, but that's good enough for here.
The caster level is 17.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you gotta remember.
So, for Paladin, I mean, the 2 veils I use all the time. Veil of Heaven, Veil of Positive Energy. I find them both to be very useful.
Created by Undead. So Veil of Positive Energy is only against Undead.
Yep, that's why I use both. Because Veil of Heaven's only outsiders.
Okay.
right,
So against
Can
cultists,
deal-
neither of them do anything.
Yeah. So they are very good against what they are good against.
Exactly.
Otherwise, they are useless.
yeah, I would say here, at least in my opinion, the best spells by far is Blessed Weapon. Like, I don't think any of these other spells even come close to that. And then maybe like the next tier down, I'd put the Veils and maybe Challenge Evil and Divine Favor and Grace if you wanted. Maybe Bless too, but you'll probably have that with somebody else that you're casting it with anyway, since you don't have a ton of spell slots.
I think Blessed Weapon
Weapon's definitely by far the best one here.
I think Blessed Weapon is fine, but at a certain point, it's not very hard to find good weapons.
It's not. It's
And
not
if you're
for the
on
alignment.
Paladin specifically,
it's-
don't your weapons count as good aligned after a certain level anyway?
It's not for the alignment. It's because all your threats are auto confirmed, so it doesn't matter if you roll a if you roll a critical, then you don't have to roll again to confirm it. That's why, like I say, it's by far the best.
That is pretty good.
Like, yeah.
Fair enough. So yeah, and then just to talk about what Challenge Evil does, +2 sacred bonus on all melee attacks against the subject of the spell. If that person doesn't attack you for 1 round, it will become sickened. If you move away from the target, the spell ends.
It's nice if you want to just send your tank at a specific character.
Yeah. Especially if that character is, like, for whatever reason, targeting one of your ranged characters or something like that. Then it becomes sickened and it can't do anything until it starts attacking the right person. So it's a very good way to get rid of a threat to one of your ranged characters.
Anybody want to point anything out here as being particularly terrible?
Not that are like specific to the Paladin spell list.
Yeah. There's definitely some that are bad, but they are ones that we've already gone over.
I would say that there are 2 here that are incredibly terrible. And those would be Resistance and Virtue, because you get them as level 0 spells on anybody else. But here you've got to actually waste a level 1 spell slot. So yeah, definitely as a Paladin, never use Virtue or Resistance.
I mean, I don't even
here.
use them as cantrips on Divine Casters anyway.
Yeah, but I just wanted to point out that they're particularly bad here.
That is fair.
Yeah. All right, so level 2 spells. Yeah, here I would say Bestow Grace is head and shoulders better than everything else here. Maybe you could make an argument that Bull Strength, Eagle Splendor, and Owl's Wisdom are kind of on the same tier because those are extremely good.
But you have other sources for those.
Yeah.
I like Aura of Greater Courage.
Yeah.
Yep. Just being immune to a thing, pretty good.
And then never touch the litanies ever in my life. Never touch them. So why waste time doing them when my paladin needs to be at the front attacking?
They are swift actions.
Yeah, but there's like other swift action things she could do, like heal herself.
Well,
that's fair.
Not only that, but you have such a limited number of spell slots too. Like,
yeah,
I'm just saying, like they do have swift actions, and you can entangle somebody with one of them. So there's a world where I could see Litany of Entanglement being useful at times in specific situations. But it would, like I said, it would have to be,
I think we could definitely agree that those are the 2 worst spells out of this group, though, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would not take them usually.
All right, cool.
Level 3, the only thing here that's like paladin specific is Holy Whisper, which is not good. So
Holy Whisper, pretty terrible.
Yeah.
Fort save becomes sickened. Evil outsiders, evil dragons, undead. 2d8 points of damage if they fail their saves. Good aligned creatures, the burst gain +2 sacred bonus on attack and damage rolls for 1 round. Okay.
Yeah, that does seem pretty terrible. I don't like it.
Yeah, not great. Not
Would be
great.
nice to have a Archon's Aura on a frontliner, though.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yep.
All right,
Level
and then
4 Paladin specific is Oath of Peace and Holy Sword.
Isn't
And
Resounding Blow also?
Yeah.
yeah.
I've never used any of these three really. Like after a certain point, after a certain spell level, I forget she has spells. I'll be honest with you.
I mean,
Holy Sword can be very good. First off, it lets you use a lower enhancement bonus weapon that has better effects. Without having to worry about, taking that hit on attack bonus and damage. The Magic Circle Against Evil is kind of meh, but there are a lot of demons in this game. They are all evil.
Yeah.
So an extra 2d6 on all of them is pretty nice as well.
Oath of Peace is pretty bad because you can't attack anyone. Or
Yeah,
the
I
spell
think-
ends.
Holy Sword could maybe be usable. I've never really used it, but that looks like it might be decent, maybe at some points. But yeah, Oath of Peace does seem pretty bad.
There's things like the what's it called? The Scythe. The guaranteed AoE Scythe. That's only a +2. This makes it a +5.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah. That's the kind of thing that I would use it for, is like the low level weapons that have really good abilities. You get to use them in endgame without taking any.
Well, I mean, I would rather use Greater Magic Weapon for that though, because that'll last until you rest again most of the time, and this is going to be for like one battle.
Yeah.
Although it does offer some improvements you don't get from Greater Magic Weapon, but anyways,
I'm
yeah,
definitely
that's my thought on
like
that.
for this spell level, I'm definitely taking like Eagle Soul, Crusader's Edge, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, here I would definitely be using Eagle Soul, Crusader's Edge, Death Ward, like those. Some combination of those three is probably all I'm going to use here.
Yeah.
Just because of the limited
Death Ward,
number of
you do
spell
have
slots.
access from other sources, though.
Yeah, I wouldn't
and
use
Crusader too. Yeah, but the problem with Death Ward is there's no communal Death Ward, so you have to kind
That
of
does
get
suck.
enough spell slots for it across your entire party to affect all your party members plus their pets and everything. So that's why sometimes I might throw in like a cast or two on my paladin so that I open up spell slots on another character for something that would be better for them. All right. So yeah, most of the paladin spells not super great, I guess, but Bestow Grace and Bless Weapon are freaking phenomenal, and I suggest everybody use them at the very least. Even if you don't have a paladin in your party, for Bless Weapon, get some freaking scrolls of Bless Weapon. Have your paladin learn scroll scribing or whatever, so that she can make them for you. Because Bless Weapon is phenomenal.
and they're not expensive, so
Yeah, they're not expensive.
Yep.
They're not always available to buy at every point in the game, though. Like, I don't think you can buy them until you get to like Act 3. I want to say, pretty sure Dresden. Like, you don't have them in your encampment or in Act 1, I don't think.
gotcha.
But yeah, they are
Good
pretty
to
cheap
know.
to buy once you get access to them.
Good to know.
Anyways. All right, I guess we're done. And we'll have to finish, I guess, the Druid spells.
The Druid and
the
the Ranger, because the Ranger has spells specific to Ranger.
The
Okay.
Ranger does?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we'll get those on the next one, I guess, in 2 weeks, or do y'all want to do something else and come back to those later?
I think we could finish those up.
Yeah, we can finish it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, I think that would probably be the best way to go to.
Ugh.
All right, sweet.
All right.
You want to start closing
out
us up
here.
then?
Yep.
Hello, everyone. Again, I am UnsungNPC. I want to thank everyone for coming out. I've already shouted out all of my viewers that came by today. And thank you to the viewers for Lorespire and Pondoor as well watching us. I appreciate all of you guys and all the chats. If you want to catch me on stream, I'm streaming a good amount this weekend. I'm trying to stream some tomorrow, as well as some. We're trying to make Baldur's Gate happen on Saturday potentially as well. So there's going to be some good streams. I am going to start looking at the Rogue Trader Alpha, which I have avoided so far because we were playing other games. But I am going to be looking at that this weekend on stream, on top of Baldur's Gate and more of this streamer show stuff as well. So that's what I'm up to. That's what I'm up to.
Yay.
All right, sweet. Just want to say, glad to hear you say that, Unsung. You won't be disappointed. The freaking Rogue Trader Alpha has far exceeded my expectations so far. It's been pretty awesome and far less buggy than I ever expected it to be. So I'm sure that everybody joining you for that's going to have a blast. Yeah, I've been enjoying it quite a bit. I'll be streaming it after this, and then we'll be streaming it again tomorrow night and most likely Saturday night for anybody who wants to come by and check that out. It's been a lot of fun. And also going to try to get another Rogue Trader video out this weekend. Haven't been able to do that as much as I wanted to because of, family illnesses and stuff like that. But I just want to say, anybody who enjoyed this, thank you for showing up. Thank you for hitting the like button, the subscribe button. If you haven't done that, please do it. And be sure that y'all check out Pondoor and Unsung. I got links to their Twitch and their YouTubes in the description of the video. Also, we've got links to our Discord in the description of the video, so join us on Discord. All right, but these guys are awesome. You'll love their stuff. Be sure that you check them out. Go ahead, Pondoor.
All right. So my brain is kind of shutting down. I'm a little bit sleepy. I normally do Kingmaker speedruns 2 days a week. Then I alternate between this podcast with these nerds on Thursdays, and doing something else on the opposite Thursdays. I still haven't figured out quite what I want to do on those days. Fridays, I usually do Phasmophobia type stuff, and then on Saturdays, I do Pokemon Red solo runs. This coming up week is going to be Snorlax, so we'll be doing that in a couple of days. Tomorrow, we will be probably starting a bit late. I'm not entirely sure when I'll be starting tomorrow, because I have to go and try and pick up my car. And speaking of, every time I check the status of my tow ETA, it goes back more and more, and I've realized that they just they have a cap of 2 hours on their tow ETAs, because every time I check it, it is exactly 2 hours from when I check it. So it's now saying that it will be 10:50 before my tow gets here, which before it was like 9 o'clock.
Yeah, sounds like most of my towing experiences.
Yeah, the problem is my work shift starts at 10, so
Yeah,
that's a bit of a problem. So I'm probably going to be walking into work again today. Yay. But other than that, yeah, I do the Kingmaker speedruns, I do the Phasmophobia speedruns, I do the Pokemon solo runs. That's pretty much what I do these days.
Hey, don't undersell yourself here now, Pondoor. He's the world record holder. I don't believe you mentioned that. World record holder for completing Kingmaker in the fastest time possible. He's got that record. So be sure you go to his channel and check out those videos of him doing that in his streams to see him do it live.
I actually have 3. I have the record for any percent, which is on story difficulty, on normal percent difficulty, and unfair, which I did 1 run of, and I beat. It's the only time I've ever played through on unfair, and I beat it in like 7.5 hours. And I will never do that again unless somebody pays me a lot of money to do it.
Yeah, I would imagine that was kind of brutal.
It was a bit rough. There were a lot of resets. Also, I did find a way to make use of the rune level 1 domain ability, the traps, that only ever do 1d6 damage and don't scale. That's how I got through the prologue.
I don't even remember those.
That's because nobody ever
Runes?
uses them because they are trash.
But you made what'd you do? Just stack them up and hide around the corner and let them all run over it and trigger it.
Yeah,
And then rest
that's
and
how
then do
I
it
killed
again.
the enemies. That's how I killed the enemies in the library
Nice.
in the prologue. Was I just stacked up a bunch of the runes and then pulled them, and they all ran over them because it's guaranteed damage if they run over the rune.
Yeah.
There's no attack roll. There's no saving throw. There's nothing.
Yeah.
So I was able to kill him.
Thor here is being amazed that you finished Kingmaker in 7 hours when it took him 300. I just want to point it out. That was his unfair playthrough. I believe you got, an hour and 13 minutes on Kingmaker, like, is your fastest time. 7 hours is his unfair playthrough. So, yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Hour and 13
crazy.
minutes and 48 seconds, I think. That is without load times. If you add in the load times, it was just over an hour and a half.
Woo-hoo!
Yep.
Look at you go.
I just made the cheer sound for you. You probably can't hear it, but all of them out there
I hear
can.
nothing.
All right. So,
All right, guys.
I guess we better get out of here so that Pondoor can start walking.
Yep.
Yeah, I get to go and walk in the cold. Yay.
It was hella fun, though. I hope everybody out there
Yeah.
enjoyed it, and thanks, guys. Looking forward to doing this again in 2 weeks for sure.
Same.
Peace out.
It's gonna be fun. See you later, guys.